Welcome. It's nice to have you here. I hope you enjoy it. I think you will.
You're listening to the Jam Session Podcast.
I was told that I could listen to the radio at a reasonable volume.
With Cowboys insider...
What's your name?
Jean-Jacques Taylor.
That's my name.
Radio personality and craft beer expert, Matt McLaren.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot. Comes from upbringing.
And now, the Jam Session Podcast.
It is indeed Jam Session. Subscribe, rate, and review, and hang out with us for a while. Right here on Jam Session. The moment we've all been waiting for has arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, the radio, TV, and now podcast superstar, the sexy Jean-Jacques Taylor.
What up, Doc?
I would be the non-sexy one. It's Matt McLaren. And this, of course, is Jam Session Podcast, version 16, asking simply that you prepare to be dazzled,
if not entertained.
And as always, we'd like to start off, if we could, telling you about some of our sponsors. And again, we really appreciate you guys, and please support our sponsors because our sponsors make this possible. If you're interested in owning a local business and sponsoring the podcast, we welcome that. You can shoot us an email now at the fancy email.
Yeah, baby.
Send me an email, Matt@jamsessionpodcast.com. That's Matt@jamsessionpodcast.com. But we certainly want to thank Blue Star Motor Group, a local husband and wife team that has a combined 50 years of experience in the car business, specializing in superior quality, Carfax certified, pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models. Super simple and aggressive pricing. So if you need to sell your car, if you have a question perhaps about your car's value versus wholesale, give Deb a call with Blue Star Motor Group. That's Blue Star Motor Group. You can check them out on Instagram, see their customer reviews, and also check out that website at bluestarmotorgroup.com. They've got inventory and pricing, and they will get you taken care of. And my friend, bluestarmotorgroup.com, they are big fans of what we do here at Jam Session, so please support them and be big fans of what they do. Also, Freeway Tire Shop, easy to get to in Dallas, right off of 35. JR and the guys over at Freeway Tire Shop will take care of you and your service needs. From state inspections, which everybody who's listening at some point needs a state inspection.
You're daggone right.
At some point needs an oil change.
You're daggone right.
An alignment, general mechanic work, and at some point you're going to need tires. And when that point comes, you're like, God damn, really? I need tires? Yes. Guess what? Freeway Tire Shop is the place to go for all of those things. Competitive pricing and elite customer service. And then they, of course, will take care of the Jam Session audience. So check out what they do at freewaytireshop.com. That's freewaytireshop.com. But we're going to get this rolling here. And again, we're recording this on Thursday, November 5th. Many of you will listen to this on a Friday or over the course of the weekend or what have you. But keep in mind, on Thursdays, we're always out and about at a local craft brewery. And today we find ourselves at Manhattan Project Brewing Company. And that is why, if you hear some noise in the background or whatnot, it's guys brewing beer, man. Cannon, making it happen. Not only brewing beer, but we will sit down with one of the owners of the husband and wife team that are the main owners of this place, Carl and Misty Sanford. And Misty's going to sit down with us here a little bit later on and tell us all about Manhattan Project Brewing, their beers, where they came from, how they got there. And what's funny is, and I don't know if this is your favorite place or not, but I do know for a fact that your favorite brewer works at this brewing.
Yeah, man. That's my dude, Preston.
Yeah.
He made some beer called Whoopsie Hazy.
Yeah, Preston.
Which is, how would you describe that?
Oh, it was a hazy IPA.
Right.
Yeah, it was really good.
All the rage, but it was fantastic.
Yeah, and I've known Preston for a while, and he came to my bottle shop party that I had back right before the pandemic closed everything down. And my buddy Eric works here, too, and so we were talking to them earlier. But yeah, Preston, man, that dude's brewing some damn good beer, and we'll have that conversation a little later. But the Cowboys and the Steelers, it is a 3:25 kick on Sunday afternoon. The Fox game of the week between the 2-6 Cowboys and the undefeated 7-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. And this one's going to be interesting because the Cowboys all of a sudden have a quarterback conundrum.
Dude, should you start the guy who's bad or the guy who's worse?
Because they're not starting the guy who sucks, and that's Ben DiNucci. They're done with him. Gucci DiNucci, they already decided, holy hell, this dude's not going to happen.
That didn't last long.
So that leaves you with these two options. You have Garrett Gilbert or Cooper Rush. Now, you may be thinking, God, okay, yeah. And I kid you not, I swear this is true. There is a dude in my fantasy team, in my fantasy league.
Stop.
Who has for years been beating the drum for Cooper Rush.
You know what? I'm not surprised because you got a lot of these guys, friend of not knuckleheads, who believe anybody but Dak is the answer at quarterback. Because I remember hearing some of that Cooper Rush stuff.
Yeah, man, and I just don't get it. And I don't get it for these reasons because here's reality, okay? Garrett Gilbert, who the Cowboys actually brought on before they brought Cooper Rush back. Keep that in mind. Garrett Gilbert is a former 6th-round pick. In 2014, he played at Texas most famously. He played at SMU. Actually did better at SMU than he ever did at Texas.
Right.
He was the dude that came in when Colt McCoy got hurt in the 2009 national title game. Garrett Gilbert came in and tried to leave Texas to the championship over Bama that year. He was drafted by the Rams. He has been active for 4 different NFL teams.
Yeah.
The Rams, the Patriots, Carolina, and Cleveland. He has appeared in 6 games in his NFL career. He has thrown 6 passes in actual games. His career line is 2 for 6 for 40 yards. Now, the Cooper Rush fan club, which actually exists. I know because I swear to God, I know the president of it. He was an undrafted free agent from 2017, cut by Dallas in May, right? When they signed Andy Dalton, they decided, okay, we don't need 2 redheads. That'd be a little much. So they get rid of Cooper Rush. The next day, his redhead lover, Jason Garrett, signs him for the New York Giants.
And you would think, wow, how lucky for Cooper Rush.
Now, when the season started in early September, he was put on the practice squad, and he lasted 3 weeks on the practice squad before the Giants cut him. They released him off the practice squad. He was a free agent for an entire month until Dallas signed him on October 30th. Cooper Rush has appeared in 5 games. He has thrown 3 passes. He is 1 for 3 for 2 yards in his NFL quarterbacking career.
I remember that completion. It was a nifty, I think it was one of those passes in the flat.
So if you put these things together, Cooper Rush and Garrett Gilbert, who, and again, this is what's nuts. They talked about we want more experience. We need guys that have more experience. Ben DiNucci threw 40 times last week. He has started an NFL game. Cooper Rush and Garrett Gilbert have combined for 0 starts, 11 appearances. Combined, they are 3 for 9 for 42 yards passing in their NFL careers. That's the experience Mike McCarthy is looking for.
Okay, let's keep it real, man. Yes, neither one of those guys is experienced. But I think what he's hoping for is the fact that, a guy like Garrett Gilbert, okay, he played in the XFL. Is the XFL the NFL? Hell no. But is it professional football?
Apparently.
Have you been in the pocket? Have you had to have your, it's a higher level of football than college football because most of the guys in the XFL were former pros.
Right.
So at least you have been around enough so that the game won't seem so fast. Like, the thing about DiNucci is, and I cut DiNucci some slack for this, not only was he making his first start in the NFL as a rookie, he's coming from old school 1AA to the NFL. It's not like he's coming from the SEC to the NFL, where it's fast, but at least you've seen some semblance of it. No, he's coming from, this was like on twice as fast, 3 times, 4 times, 10 times as fast as he's ever seen. And so it shouldn't surprise us that the game sped up for him. That being said, man, and then Cooper Rush, he didn't play very much with the Cowboys, but at least he was in practices. He's got a good grasp of the information, and they were high on him enough to keep him around for 3 years. All of that is better than Gucci DiNucci. Is that what we're calling him now?
Fake Gucci DiNucci. Knockoff Gucci DiNucci. Do not call him Gucci.
I like knockoff Gucci DiNucci.
My God, there's nothing Gucci about that.
Nah, he didn't call himself Gucci, so why are we? I don't know.
Okay, well, whatever media dumbass started the Gucci DiNucci thing, it's on you.
Yeah.
And so I invented knockoff Gucci DiNucci or fake Gucci DiNucci.
I like knockoff. Knockoff is better. So knockoff Gucci DiNucci. Both options are better than him, and neither option is good. I'm just, bro, I keep it real. Like, you look at the Steelers, and they're giving up, I think, what is it? I had it written down right here, Matt. They're giving up 20 points a game.
Yeah.
But again, let me tell y'all something. this ain't really, it's about the Steelers, but it's not about the Steelers. We're talking about in 3 games without Dak, the Cowboys have averaged 7 points and 250 yards. And now you're basically starting another quarterback who's never started an NFL game. And so if you use that as the baseline, 7 points, 250 yards, and then they're going up, and Mike Tomlin said something interesting this week. Somebody asked him how he was preparing, not knowing which quarterback. He said, it doesn't matter, we're preparing for Zeke Elliott.
Yeah.
So basically, that just tells you, y'all ain't finna run the ball. Zeke is the known quantity in this algebraic formula. First time since 7th grade I ever had to use algebra. Zeke is X, okay?
Right.
And so if we eliminate X, we're not worried about your quarterback. And so, dog. And then I'm just going to throw this out there, man. You do with it what you want to. I'm just throwing it out there.
All right.
I'm just throwing it out there. You do with it what you want to. Mm-hmm. Terrence Steele against TJ Watt.
4 sacks.
That's if they give him help, he's got 3.
No, for real. Over under 4 sacks.
I'm going to take the under because that's like taking Tiger Woods in the field. So I'm going to take the under.
All right.
But
what if I said 3.5 sacks as the over under? So he gets 3 by himself or 4 by himself? You got to think about it a little bit.
I think 2.5 is the number.
Okay, that's probably more fair. That being said, he's going to get a couple of sacks. And to your point, I mean, the reality of it is if Pittsburgh's coming into this and game planning to stop Zeke, it doesn't matter if it's Cooper Rush or Garrett Gilbert. They're going to throw multiple interceptions. They're going to get a hit constantly. Pittsburgh's a team that blitzes like crazy as it is. They're going to be under pressure constantly. I mean, and we're going to get into this, but I'll throw some of these out here because we'll tell you who's going to win and why coming up here shortly. But they blitz the 3rd most in the NFL. They blitz 42% of the time. And out of that, they lead the NFL in quarterback hurries and quarterback pressures. And
what
they
happens,
lead the NFL in sacks.
Okay, let's say that one more time.
They lead the NFL in quarterback hurries, quarterback pressures, and sacks.
Okay, what have I told y'all 1,000 times over the last couple of years I've been working with Matt? And this is not something I came up with, but I just give y'all information I disseminate to you. And again, I ain't breaking no news here. Quarterbacks under duress make mistakes, okay? Inexperienced quarterbacks under mistakes make 3 times as many.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's, dude, I'm not taking shots. I don't see any way for them to score.
I honestly don't know that if I do either. I mean, I keep thinking at some point because of the leg of Greg Zuerlein, if it's not crazy windy, knowing he can hit a 59-yard field goal,
okay,
I don't think they'll get in the red zone. But I think that they may get close enough where he can kick a 55, 60-yard field goal.
And they may, but again, you'd have to drive the ball 30 or 40 yards, pick up 2 or 3 first down. See, the big I'm being serious. Like, the big play passing game has disappeared. How do you score points in the NFL? With big plays. That thing has disappeared. So you're not moving the ball like – that's why Dak averaged 8.5 yards an attempt.
Yeah. Because
he was leading the league in passes of more than 20 yards. Without the big plays, you can't consistently move the ball and get more than 1 first down or 2. That's 20 yards, maybe 25.
That's very true.
So, again, now last week you had a bunch of turnovers. That helped. But if you start the majority of your drives at the 30-yard line, I'm going to give you 5 yards extra. You move it to 20, okay, now you're at the 50. I just don't see it, man. And so I'm not taking shots. I don't see how they score.
Well, but before we reveal too much, because we're going to talk more on who's going to win and why.
I got Pittsburgh winning.
I guess we'll just tell you right now. No, but when you look at the quarterbacks and you look at Garrett Gilbert and Cooper Rush, who do you think is going to be gets the start on Sunday?
I vacillated over this quite a bit. I know y'all are like, really? This is time when you're an old man on an oxygen tank you'll wish you got back. This time you spent thinking about Cooper Rush or Garrett Gilbert.
It's true.
My initial thought was Cooper.
They have good food here, man.
I'm sorry. We just saw a plate walk by, and it took my breath away.
Last
time that happened, I married a woman.
The food here is really, really good. And again, we are at Manhattan Project Brewing Company out here, and we're going to talk to the owner here coming up a little bit later on. But, yeah, you just watch some of the fries come by. Their food is fantastic.
So as I get back on point, and so my initial thought was if you listen to Mike McCarthy, And I should know that Mike McCarthy is a man who's filled with a lot of misinformation. He kind of made it seem like Cooper Rush was kind of the guy. But then because he's familiar with Kellen Moore's offense,
Right.
he was here a couple years. And intellectually, that makes sense to me. Cooper Rush, okay, fine. But then I'm drawn to the fact that wasn't Cooper Rush available when they signed Garrett Gilbert?
Yeah.
So if you sign Garrett Gilbert when Cooper Rush was available, why would you now go start Cooper Rush? Because clearly you like Garrett Gilbert better.
Very true.
So it seems to me that Garrett Gilbert would be a starter. All I got to tell you, it's the skinniest fat guy. It doesn't matter.
All right, well, we shall see, but those are the options, and apparently they will not make a decision until Saturday on who is going to start, but it'll either be Garrett Gilbert or Cooper Rush. So we continue with you here, and I want to tell you again about one of our sponsors, and I got to say, man, you've had them, I've had them, they're awesome. The wings from Kroger are absolutely fantastic. There's 2 flavors available at Kroger's across North Texas. The mango habanero, which I absolutely love. As a matter of fact, I like them so much, I bought 3 pounds the other day.
I couldn't believe you bought 3 pounds.
Yeah, because I'm going to grill the crap out of them this week, and I'm going to eat a lot of wings. And the mango habanero is delicious. They also have the buffalo blue cheese. Now, these wings aren't breaded like most other wings, so all you're getting is the meat and the flavor. And you get them in Kroger, you go back to where they cut up the meats, and you talk to the dude at the counter, and just let them know, hey, I want a couple of pounds or 3 pounds, whatever it is, of the wings that are in the window, and they will wrap those up and take care of you. And I have to, the flavor on these things, it's legit, man. And I have heard from several of you, because I feel like sometimes when we talk about things like this, people are like, oh, okay, you have to say that. No, we don't have to say that. I had these wings before I decided that we would take them as a sponsor, and because I liked them so much, I was like, awesome. But okay, don't take my word for it. Take Jacob's word for it. One of our Twitter followers. Jacob tweeted at us, and this is legit his tweet. So I decided to get and grill the wings you guys are sponsored by, and yep, they're actually really good. Surprised by how good they are. Give them a try, people. That's
how
him.
about that?
That's him on Twitter telling you. And I agree. Mango habanero, buffalo blue cheese. Go back to the counter in Kroger and order a couple of pounds for yourself this weekend and enjoy those. But it is time, as we always love talking about local things, to take our trip around the block here on Jam Session. And today that leads us to a couple of different things. One, and I was one of them because I did watch a lot of election coverage on Tuesday night. And as we sit here on Thursday afternoon, as far as I know, we still don't know who the president's going to be.
No.
But over 50 million people watched election coverage on Tuesday night, which oddly enough is down a bit from where it was 4 years ago in 2016. But then I wonder, is it because more people are streaming and watching it in a way? Like I had several people that tweeted at me saying they were watching Joe Rogan, who was doing, I think, a YouTube Live or something of it. I was like, well, those people wouldn't count in the numbers.
I'm just asking because I never thought about it the way you said it.
Yeah.
If we got YouTube TV, are we streaming or are we watching?
Technically, we're streaming because it's a streaming service.
We don't count in the ratings.
Yeah, see, I don't think so. But so many people are doing, whether it's Hulu or YouTube TV or whatever it is that stream now, and I don't know how they count those people. Now, Fox News was the most watched at 13.6 million viewers, and then CNN came in second at 9.1 million. ABC out of the broadcast networks led the broadcast networks. They had 6 million viewers. And I thought that, and I mentioned this the other day, and I actually stopped down on probably about 10 different channels throughout the course of the night just to see what they were doing.
Right.
But I counted, and you have YouTube TV too, right?
Right.
Yeah, because I've got it. I have 17 different channels that were showing election coverage on election night. And I thought, isn't this what YouTube TV was supposed to not do? Like, why do I need all these random-ass news channels? And I started going through, I was like, oh my God, dude. We have something on YouTube TV called Cheddar, which apparently they were doing election coverage. TYT, never heard of it before.
I was going to say, what do they normally do?
I don't know, because I didn't even know I had them until Tuesday night. And then Newsy. There's a channel called Newsy.
Well, they should be doing electric coverage.
Yeah, but I'd never heard of them before. And so I was looking at these, and I was like, what in the world what is this?
Okay, so you're not like me, because you know what I do. As soon as I got YouTube TV, I deleted all the channels I don't watch.
I didn't know you could delete channels.
Oh, da 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 da! Breaking news. Yeah, no.
You can delete the channels.
Well, there's an
but then you
option.
shouldn't have to pay for them.
Well-
You're just deleting them off your guide.
That's what I'm saying. So,
Come on.
what are you talking about?
It ought to be a la carte. That's what it was
That's
supposed
what
to
it
be
should be.
originally, and now it's $70 a month, and they keep adding all these damn channels I don't want.
No, that's
And that's how they're going to lose people.
They'll lose people until the next thing comes along.
I guess, man.
The next thing hasn't come along yet.
No, it hasn't.
Because I got to be honest with you. Since we don't have a direct TV, endorsement yet, sponsorship yet.
Yeah.
I can't pay
would be
$212. I can't pay $212 a month instead of paying. I mean, yeah, I'm mad because it's 64 and not
Yeah.
59, 49.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something, bro. 64 still feels better than 212.
It feels a lot better, man. Like,
Yeah.
way better.
So hey,
And so, I don't mind it. I like YouTube TV, generally considering all the things. Some of the channels they put on there recently, I'm like, what the hell is this? I don't need this shit. But I will say this, election night coverage, I kept going back to CNN because that dude on CNN, John King, he is like the Mel Kiper of election coverage.
great hair.
Yeah. I'm like, he never messes up. He never stumbles. He never says, and he is like a machine, and he zooms in on all these states and knows all the counties.
That's the key.
Dude, and I'm mesmerized by this guy. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, old guy or young guy?
Well, he said that this was his 9th election to cover. So that's 36 years worth of elections. He had silver hair. So I would guess he's close to 60.
Okay.
Because you got to figure at what point did he start covering on television.
Yeah, but I've learned only in the last couple days, and this is not a knock on John King because apparently he's terrific.
He was awesome.
But I learned in the last few days, there's a few counties in the country that swing elections.
Right.
Because those counties swing states.
Yep.
And like Maricopa County in Arizona.
Yeah.
Which is really Phoenix, Scottsdale. You can't win Arizona without winning Maricopa County. Dade County in Florida. There's one of them, might be Wayne County in Detroit, in Michigan, which is kind of Detroit.
Yeah.
So those kinds of things, which silly me, I didn't know that. I found that to be kind of the most interesting thing about the election coverage because they can tell you, like when they got all these votes are out, what they do is they pull you in and they go, oh, there's 500,000 votes out.
Yeah.
But they're from Taylor County and McLaren County and Management County.
I like it.
And in Taylor County, it rings heavily Republican, so that's good for Trump.
Yeah.
And, in McLaren County, it's very independent, so we don't really know how those votes are going to go. And then in Management County, it's really a Democratic county, so that's great for Biden. And then when you say it like that, it makes sense, because, you go, oh, okay, so everybody's got a shot. But when them 3 counties are all Democratic or all Republican, you're like, dude, you got no shot.
Yeah, very true.
So I found, to me, in all our election coverage, that how they break down those counties and what it means for the outstanding votes, that to me was the most interesting thing of all.
Yeah, and he was really good at that. And, I think all those channels have a guy that does that. I know Fox News did. I don't remember his name, but, we'll see. Who knows? But those are the numbers from the watching of the election on Tuesday night.
Did you spend Wednesday night watching it too?
No, I mean, I jumped in on it a little bit, but it's becoming obvious that we're probably not going to know for sure once they go through everything, because, he's trying to steal the election.
Right.
And if you just say that out loud, then everybody, you'll just take which candidate you think is trying to do it and turn it into whatever you want. But God's will be done. So we move forward.
Okay.
And I thought this was crazy. Coppell Police, which that's how you pronounce it, Coppell.
Like Coppell.
Yeah, Coppell. Yeah, so Coppell Police are searching for a man who has been repeatedly stealing beer from a gas station. And oddly enough, because Irving's right next to Coppell.
Is he stealing craft beer?
No, and that's the thing. He is stealing Corona. And there are pictures of him. Each time he's been in there, and this has happened a few times apparently, they've got him on camera coming out with 2 stolen cases of Corona every time he does this. And he's stealing it from a QT that I've been to many times.
Oh! Wow.
He's going into QT and just ripping off this beer.
What's the deal with that, man?
See, then I wonder, is like, really,
Do you really
dude?
want to go to jail over Corona?
Maybe
over a
he's-
six-pack?
Maybe he's a big Tony Romo fan. No, he's stealing cases.
Okay,
That's
you want to
24.
go to jail over 24?
And
I mean,
so then
really?
and I guess he goes home and he drinks them, and then when he needs it again, he goes back in and steals it again. I don't know. But it's weird.
drugs.
So there's a picture of this dude. He has tattoos on his left arm and neck and wears necklaces. It's some white dude. 2 cases. And I was thinking, I was like, if I was going to steal beer, it wouldn't be that. Although for a Mexican lager, I got no problems with Corona. I still have a hard time believing that's all Tony Romo drinks.
This is a good question. What local craft beer would you go to jail for stealing?
Locally?
Yeah, because I don't want to talk about I go to jail for some Hetty Topper or some Pinky the Elder.
Maybe Pinky the Elder, Pliny the Elder.
Okay, Pliny.
God, he was an old guy, Pliny. Anyway, yeah. So the one that would probably get me the most would be, the jam session beer. Maybe that False Idol did for us would be hard to turn down. Right. There's been a few things at Celestial, but Turning Point's put out some stuff that you got to wait in line for that have the wax top seal for the bottle. Probably end up being something like that. Like they did one called The Soft Glow of Electric Sex that was really, really good.
The Soft Glow of Electric Sex.
Yeah, and that would be one that I could see myself trying to steal, or like if I had, like your not that I would.
Right.
Your question was, if you had to steal one, what would you go
If
after?
you're going to steal one,
Yeah,
what would
it'd be something like that from one of those guys.
The Soft Glow of Electric Sex.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
I just want to drink it because it sounds like a...
Dude, it was really good.
Such a good name.
But Turning Point will do some of those beers, those stouts that are super rich and just loaded with all kinds of different things in there. It's like the Return of the Stack that False Idol does, or
that was outstanding.
Right, like or Break or Fast that Celestial's putting out.
That too was outstanding.
Yeah, things like that, would be on my list probably, that are harder to get, that are rare, that they only do a lot of the times once and then you never see it again. It'd be something like that. It wouldn't be something I could literally get at any convenience store in any place in the world like this dumbass guy is doing. And yes, if you are the guy and you happen to listen to the podcast, then you know what? You're a moron guy. Return the beer, turn yourself in, and if you're going to steal beer, steal the good stuff.
Dude.
Although, to be fair, local craft breweries, they need you to pay for it, not just rip it off. And that, my friends, is our daily trip around the block. Cowboys and Steelers on Sunday afternoon. And as we do each and every week, we like to tell you who's going to win and why. And, I think we've both looked up a few things, but even if you didn't, and you just wanted to go surface, a lot of you are chuckling and going, how the hell are the Cowboys going to beat an undefeated Steelers team? And you know what? That's fair. Totally fair, especially with yet another quarterback who will be making, whether it's Cooper Rush or Garrett Gilbert, will be making their first career NFL start. Against a team, if I may share this with you, Pittsburgh has the 6th best scoring defense in the NFL. They're the 3rd best overall defense. They are tied for 2nd in the NFL in takeaways with 13. Oh, by the way, of which 10 of those are interceptions. They blitz the 3rd most in the NFL at 42%. They lead the NFL in quarterback hurries and pressures. They lead in sacks. They lead the NFL in completion percentage against, allowing just 57%. They lead the NFL in quarterback hits and in tackles for a loss. So you tell me how a team with a guy making his first career start against a defense like that does jack shit.
Let me be honest with y'all. As honest as I can possibly be. And I think this is a week, Matt, where it's okay to work in reverse. Like normally we tell you all the facts and then we give you the score. But see, I think this is a week, perhaps the only week, because this is an aberration.
Where you say the score and then...
And work backwards. I'm going to give you the score and then tell you why. And this is an aberration. But it's truly because I've been doing this 25 years, since 1995.
Right.
Okay? This is the only time in the 25 years I've been picking games. 'Cause I've been picking them every week for the Dallas Morning News or ESPN or NBC5 or, now the Jam Session podcast. So I've been picking them every week, man, since 1995. This is the first time ever I've picked the Cowboys to get shut out. And, you know, I can hear some of y'all right now.
Hold on. You can't just gloss over that. So what you just said, because when you said that, I was like, wait a second. So in the 25 years that you've been picking games, which is 16 games a year.
Yeah.
So in a 10-year period, that's 160, so 320. So roughly 350 games, probably more than that.
Yeah.
You've never picked the Cowboys to get shut out.
Ever.
Until now.
Not even those years with Campo where they were 5-11 and they had Quincy Carter.
Not even the Romo year from a few years ago in which they were running out 19 different people?
No.
Wow.
And the reason is, to me,
oh my God.
It's simple, really. And a lot of people shoot me. You know, a lot of people throw some shade my way for this. Oh, you're being funny. I'm not being funny. This is not like some Skip Bayless shock jock humor. No, I'm being very serious when I ask you. You just rattled off a bunch of stats about the Steelers defense. You know, how they rank near the top of the league in turnovers,
right,
and quarterback pressures and sacks and hits. And, okay, forget all the stats, okay? Just forget them, because that's a bunch of numbers. All those stats equal one word: disruptive. Like, some defenses are bend but don't break.
Yes.
They let you have this and then they tackle you.
Right.
They let you have that and then they tackle you. They let you have this and then they tackle you. Oops, incompletion, second and long. Now you got a problem. Or they got you for a tackle for 3 yards lost. Now it's 2nd and 13. You got a problem. Okay? And then some teams are like Pittsburgh. They come at you 100 miles an hour doing 100 different things and dare you to figure it out. Sometimes, if you got the right quarterback, you can figure it out and you can bust their ass on some big plays. This, my friends, is not that team. Now, I got to tell you, I got to be real with you. If the Dak Prescott we saw from the first 4 weeks was playing this Pittsburgh team, my God, what a game.
Yeah.
Because he would hit them. Now,
sure,
you know, it's the Cowboys. They might turn over 3 times. But Dak would probably put up 400 yards and 4 touchdowns because all that blitzing is man-to-man coverage. He deciphers it and pick a guy. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, whatever. Somebody going to the house a long way. This, however, ain't that team. So I ask y'all, and I'm being all serious, because you can hit me on Twitter. I'll answer. JJT_journalist.
Yeah,
Matt,
please do.
McMatt 90. What are you now?
McMatt Radio.
I'm sorry, man. You didn't change the name about 3 times.
I know, but McMatt Radio works for everybody.
McMatt Radio, okay. This is a team, since Dak Prescott went out, that's averaged 7 points and 250 yards. Now they're playing the most disruptive defense in the league.
Yeah.
With a quarterback, be it Garrett Gilbert, be it Cooper Rush, who's never made an NFL start.
And who have a combined 9 passes in NFL games.
Right. And who didn't, okay, check this out now, and who didn't even start the season on NFL rosters. It's not like, oh, you're my backup, so we ready to go. No, they were on the scrap heap.
Which means that the teams didn't even want them to be their third-string guy.
Yeah, so let's say most teams got 2 quarterbacks and 1 on the practice squad. That's a lot of quarterbacks. So you talking about 2 cats, let's just keep it real, man. That's not in the top 100 quarterbacks in the league.
They suck.
Facing one of the most disruptive defenses in the league.
God, we're going to get our ass kicked.
With an offensive line that, aside from Zach Martin, is trash. He is, what Emmitt Smith said, a diamond amongst trash. Okay?
No. A diamond surrounded by poo-poo.
No. I'm keeping it real. And so I ask y'all again, I'm not taking shots, I'm being dead serious. You tell me how they gonna score.
I don't know, man.
Now, I mean, you can say, like, they throw up, they get a 50-yard pass interference.
See, well, and like I told you earlier, I think, like, somehow, some way, Greg Zuerlein will get some opportunities to kick 50-yard field goals.
He might.
Like, honestly, I don't know if the Cowboys will ever be in the red zone in this game, but they don't have to be for Greg Zuerlein. You get to the 35 to 40, and Greg Zuerlein can kick you a 50 to a 60-yard field goal. That's why I think they'll get a couple of field goals out of this. Now, that being said, A guy like Minkah Fitzpatrick, who, if you ever watch Alabama play football, you know him. You probably forgot he went to the Dolphins and then forced his way out of Miami to go to Pittsburgh and could have been had for a really affordable price. And that would have been, when he was up and they were trying to trade him, I wanted the Cowboys so bad to get Minkah Fitzpatrick. Now, that being said, this Steelers defense has two players that I thought the Cowboys could acquire. Would we know who they were if they play for the Cowboys? I honestly don't know. But Minkah Fitzpatrick and TJ Watt are going to wreak havoc on this game. Minkah Fitzpatrick is going to do things that Cooper Rush and Garrett Gilbert have never seen. Garrett Gilbert is going to have flashbacks to the national title game against Alabama. He's going to get pressured a ton, whoever it is that starts. Right. They're going to get pressured a ton. They're going to get hit a ton. And they're going to make errant throws. The Pittsburgh Steelers will have at least 2 interceptions in this game. I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have a defensive score in this game because of that. I wouldn't be surprised if they block a damn punt or a field goal at some point. I'm serious. Now, you pick them not to score, and my initial thought was that this is going to be very similar to that.
Right.
And it's funny because my initial thought, and we don't ever show each other what we have written down.
Never.
But I had the Steelers winning this game 31-6 with 2 field goals from Greg Zuerlein.
Oh.
And you have them winning the game.
And you can read it in Dallas Morning News tomorrow. 31-0.
And see, and I didn't know that till you said it earlier, and I was like, damn, I want to change mine. But no, that's what I wrote down on my notes, 31-6 Steelers. I think it's a blowout that's never close. And the only reason why I don't think it'll be worse is because Mike Tomlin's not that type of coach. Like, I think this is going to be over at halftime.
Yeah, I think then it becomes run the ball between the tackles. Let's get out of here without an injury. They're not in our class this year. So let's.
Like, I can see it being something like 24-3 at half. And then the Steelers score another touchdown, and then the Cowboys get another field goal in the second half. And it's literally a methodical burn clock as much as we can. Let's get the hell out of this. That's what I think is going to happen. The Steelers will be 8-0, and the Cowboys will go into the bye week 2-7, which is what they deserve because it's a crap team with crap results, and they don't deserve to win this game, and they're not going to.
You think their defense can slow down Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh doesn't have necessarily a dynamic offense, but they tend to score a lot of points.
I think it's going to be – I'm hoping 31 is the limit because I had a dream the other night, and then when I woke up, I was like, no, because that was the Bama score against Mississippi State, where the Cowboys lost 41-0, and that was what Bama did to Mississippi State was 41-0.
Right.
But if I said that, if that was my pick, who out there is going to sit there and go, that's dumb? Nobody would.
Nah, not this year, brother.
I mean, it wouldn't be. I honestly would not be surprised if Pittsburgh scores 40-plus points and the Cowboys don't score a touchdown.
Nah, it's gonna be hard, man. Really hard for them to score. I say this all the time, and I mean it. I would love for them to prove me wrong. I really would.
They're not going to.
But I don't think it's going to happen.
No, there's no glove that doesn't fit. We know what this is.
It's a bad football team playing a good football team, and the circumstances are not right for them to compete.
All right, so we continue with you here. It's Jam Session. Jean-Jacques Taylor, Matt McLaren. As a reminder, we are always on Fridays at Oak Islands Brewing, out there at 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon doing a live YouTube show. So if you can't come to the actual brewery and hang out with us in person, that's cool. Just find us on YouTube. Subscribe now at Jam Session Podcast and watch the live YouTube show. We will actually be answering. We always do a Q&A with the people who are watching live on YouTube, so we would appreciate that. But before we get into our next segment, which for those that have forgotten is the greatest segment of all time, perhaps, a reminder that we are on location as we are every Thursday. We're out at Manhattan Project here in Dallas, another local craft brewery. And we will have a fairly lengthy sit-down with Misty, one of the owners of the brewery, but her husband is sitting here with us right now. Carl is here with us. What's up, dude?
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing well, man.
Good.
Thank you.
So you're going to join us because this is a segment that is brought to you by one of our sponsors. It's Beer Geeks Shop in downtown Rockwall. And, of course, Jason and Deidre out there doing some great things locally. So all the beers at Beer Geeks Shop in downtown Rockwall are available in singles. And, of course, that's one of the great things about it. 400 different beers from across the world, and you can find them off the square in downtown Rockwall. Jason and Deidre, they're good people. It's a local family-owned business, so get out there and support those guys if you live on the eastern side of Dallas-Fort Worth, or where I grew up in Rockwall, out there in the Rowlett, Garland, Saxe, Wiley, Royce City, Fate area, what have you, Heath. I'm telling you, man, Beer Geek Shop, they can get it taken care of for you. So check those guys out. But it is another installment of Just the Sip. Not the whole thing.
Just the sip.
Just the sip. All right.
Why you laughing?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't. There's no double entendre there at all.
No, not at all. Why would there be? No. So Carl's going to sit down and join us for Just the Sip. And we always, of course, have 3 different beers, 3 different styles, usually from 3 different breweries to check out and try.
Now, this is the first time you've never heard of this beer.
I never have.
And this is called Greifensteiner.
Here, let me see. Yeah, let's see. Have you ever heard of this one?
Greifensteiner.
I have never heard of that.
Yeah, Greifensteiner Original, which apparently is an unfiltered lager that checks in at 5.2% CNA Veltins. I don't know anything about this beer.
But it's a low.
Where's it made?
I'm guessing Germany.
So you can say whatever you think about it.
Yeah, it's in Germany. Yeah, somewhere in Germany.
It's a low ABV
That's very
lager.
crafty for Germany.
I see. Okay, so it's brewed in accordance with the German purity law.
Okay.
So, all right. So it's one of those.
Reinheitsgebot.
Yeah, Reinheitsgebot.
Okay, what the hell does that mean?
Like, I don't know what it directly translates to, but it's basically it's the
You can't
you can
use
only
anything in it,
use
yeah.
like malted grain,
German stuff?
water, yeast.
No, it's like super simple ingredients, and you can't do anything else. I think that's right. I think it's just
no
the 4.
adjuncts. Yeah, no adjuncts.
It's like grain, barley, and then water and yeast.
Basically, I'm not going
Yes.
to like this because it's going to be a very
No, this will be very
beer
beer to you. Plus, it's unfiltered. I mean, look at that for a lager.
man.
So here
It's
it
got
is.
quite a bit of color for a lager.
Yeah, that's what I, yeah.
Riverwalk.
I mean, that's super. And so for those of you that are checking this out on YouTube, you can zoom in on this, I guess, but there you go. That's what you're looking for. All right, let's see what you think. All of us are going to sit here and give it a sip. Just a sip. Don't get greedy and do the whole thing.
Now, y'all going to have to tell me because it's,
I don't really like lagers.
It's legit.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a nice body on it. Full-bodied for a lager.
Yeah, no, I would say
got
we
good biscuity.
kind of here in the U.S. we kind of get skewed on what a lager is, but I'd say this is very much in line with what I would expect from a good German lager.
Yeah, this is something. This to me is crushable. You can drink it. It's got nice, like the flavor on it. To me is good. He doesn't like it, but you know,
I don't like lagers.
I know. See, you never.
I like only if I like Roaring. What's his name? Roaring Sons.
Yeah, from Fort Worth.
They seem to have the down.
Well,
the lager
because
thing for me.
you like the
'Cause they throw
the
some flavor in
flavored,
there.
right? You like the flavored lager. Is like the Adios Pantalones is the
Right.
one he was talking about that he liked. Because it had I forget what it was, mango or whatever.
They got 3 or 4 of them, but I like them all.
Yeah, like just a legit lager with nothing else. I mean, just a lagered lager. That he never likes those.
No, because they
He's
taste
like,
like beer, and I don't like beer.
Yeah, no, it's got, but it does have like a good like malt and grain characteristic without because a lot of lagers have DMS.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, dimethyl sulfide, which is not a good flavor at all.
No. Like that's what. Like,
I mean, PMS is not good, but DMS.
Yeah.
No, to me, diacetyl and DMS are the 2 probably easiest beer flaws to pick up on. And then what DMS is that the green apple one?
No, it's
I can't remember
like
how
cooked
to pronounce
corn
it.
is how
Yeah,
they
that's
describe
the
it.
Vegetable. Yeah.
But it's funny because it's the only off flavor that's also a flavor. So when you look up the off flavors, it lists DMS. But then when you look up the flavor of Pilsner beers, it'll say DMS. So it's a flavor and an off flavor somehow.
Yeah, but if you ever have one that legit has DMS, I mean, you
taste it right away.
Yes,
Like,
because
even somebody like me.
It is very cream cornish. For real.
So like I could taste it.
I don't know if you'd know. I think you would know. Like, man, that tastes like kind of cream cornish, and you'd be like, oh, that's not supposed to.
Drink a warm Miller Lite sometime. You'll know exactly. You'll know exactly what it is.
Yeah, and then because diacetyl is the butter, and then I can never remember how to pronounce it. Like acetaldehyde or whatever is the green apple.
Acetaldehyde.
Yes, that's the green apple off flavor. Which
acetaldehyde.
Well, there you go. It's like when I first picked up a bottle of Tylenol, and I was like, acetaminophen, what? And everybody laughed at me. It's like, I'm a dumbass. All right, so what's next? We're going to try. So this one is, again, all these beers are available at Beer Geek Shop in downtown Rockwell, and this is Greifensteiner, the unfiltered lager.
I would say if you're into traditional German lagers,
pretty good.
This is definitely
I like
up your alley.
Yeah, and so then not that one. The coffee lager is going to be our next one, and this is from Red Gap Brewing Company, which we've had a few of these on the show before. And Red Gap is a local couple of husband and wife couples that own that. It's out there in Cisco, which is way out off I-20 past. Like if you're driving out to Abilene, it's about an hour past Fort Worth. A really cool tap room downtown on the square in downtown Old Cisco. And they're good people. They've made some good beers. You liked the Margarita Goza that we had from them.
That's on the JJT top 10 list.
Yeah, you liked that one quite a bit that we did a while back. Yes. I mean, if you're making his top 10, I mean, that's reserved for special beers only.
Especially with a Goza.
Wow, this is interesting.
It's
a coffee lager.
Coffee lager.
Here, let's see the can if I could.
Slowpoke Joe.
Okay, so Slowpoke Joe, a coffee lager. Let's see, what does it say? Yeah, okay, so they added Slowpoke Farms small batch cold brew coffee for an instant classic. Lager and coffee. All right. 5.2% ABV. It's clear. But yeah, to me, the aroma on it, you get coffee like straight off.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, wow, I mean, it smells like it's just coffee.
But it throws you off because it don't look like coffee. And it don't look like a stout because it's a lager.
That's interesting because it's almost like you're just drinking coffee. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what to think of
I
that.
don't like it because, and y'all know I like coffee beers. See, I don't like it because I get the coffee flavor, which is cool. But as you professionals would say, the mouth is kind of thin for me.
Oh,
And
yeah, I mean, it's super thin. It's a lager. I mean, it's super
I know,
thin.
but I like the thick mouth. I like big lip girls.
Oh, you like it thick in
Like-
your mouth? I got you.
See, there you go.
What? Is that not what you just said? You
No,
like
I said
thick
I like
things in
thick
your
lip
mouth.
girls. Thick mouths.
I understand.
And so the combination of that, it just throws me off. I think that's what it does. So
I don't know.
The coffee was strong in it, and that's a positive. But everything else is a negative.
Yeah, this is
It's interesting.
it's interesting.
When Matt says it's interesting, it means he
I feel
doesn't
like it
really
has
like it.
I feel like it has its time and place. Like it's like
Okay, what's the time and place for that?
like a Sunday brunch between 10:30 and 11 a.m.
It's just so light. Like
I
it's
was gonna
crazy
say-
light. And that coffee flavor, it's really coffee.
Which is
really
good,
coffee.
but it's
Sure,
too
yeah.
light for the coffee. Maybe that's what it is.
See, and that's the thing, like when you see a coffee lager, because a lot of the times that's why you like some of those flavored lagers, because if you're going to put something in a lager, you pick it up immediately. That's You know, like we always talk about how easy it is to pick out flaws in lagers because you can't hide, there's nothing to hide it in.
Right.
So whatever flavor you add to it, you're getting that flavor. Man, you get the
That part
this is
was
really
good.
coffee heavy.
I give him credit for trying something different and unique because I never heard of a coffee lager.
All right, well, so we will go from that, and again, that's from Red Gap Brewing Company out there in Cisco, Texas, and also available for you at Beer Geek Shop in downtown Rockwall. And this next one is interesting because while we're here at Manhattan Project today, last week we were out at Hop and Sting, which obviously you guys have a connection to because you were brewing out there at some point at Grapevine at that facility.
we were there for almost a year and a half. Made quite a bit of beer there.
Yeah, and it's a huge facility, which, you know, and Brian was telling us last week on the podcast, I mean, they're still, you know, they contract with all kinds of breweries because they have the equipment and they're not going to brew on that level. You know, like Trinity Forest, I think, and Happy Hippie or whatever that's around now is brewing out of there. But this is a beer they did, and we had it last week. I love hot pepper IPAs or beers. Like, I love pepper beers. And this is about as hot as it comes. He was inspired, he told us, and this is Hop and Sting's Curse of the Seven Scorpions. He was inspired by Habanero Sculpin, wanted to make a beer that had a lot of heat in it. In this beer they use, and I can't remember the exact amount of pounds that he told us, there's Habanero, Scorpion,
30 pounds.
and Carolina Reaper. Homegrown
From his grandmother.
from his grandma's garden. And they used it like legit real peppers, and this beer is hot, man. I mean, it is hot.
Yeah, I'm not getting any. I'm not getting anything on the nose.
Mango puree.
Okay,
so that's what it is. Yeah,
I'm getting all mango on the nose. Yeah.
Yeah, the mango, I was going to say, I was trying to remember what else is in it, but it's the mango puree, which kind of balances out a little bit of the heat. But this beer, when we had it last week at the brewery, I mean, this will burn you.
Now, see, I find this interesting because
That is different.
Because Matt is taking me into this
God, I love this.
pepper
I
beers
love
thing,
this.
which I never thought I'd like.
Show the can here.
But that thing right there is pretty good because I kind of like the heat at the end, Matt.
Yeah,
And I get a lot of the mango.
yeah, so it's
But it's not hot. It's just some heat.
I mean, you are talking about a massively hot pepper beer. And I think you taste it. Like, you get the Carolina Reaper. If you eat ever anything with Reaper in it.
Yeah, but no, it reminds me of some of those, like when you get some of that, like, kind of, I don't know, like the mango salsa where, like, the sweet and the heat work.
Habanero salsa or whatever?
Yeah, when the sweet and the heat work together.
Yes. It does, I think, in this beer.
I think it. I'm
You
telling
like
you,
this?
I like,
You like
yeah.
this? Yeah. Do you
I
like
like
this,
that jalapeno beer.
I do like it. It
You
works.
don't have to lie. We'll tell the truth here.
Yeah, I mean, Jacques will tell you. Jacques has literally said that a beer tastes like it was brewed with water from the Trinity. I mean, come on. So it's okay to say your real feelings.
Yeah, no. I think it works together really well because it's got like a little bit of a. I mean, you get the sweetness from the mango. I mean, the mouth feels like the body of it's right where you want it to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe these particular peppers, I'm not real sensitive because I am not super tough when it comes to spice.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
That's why this is interesting to me because
And
I can handle it.
Yeah, it's just a little tingle. It's not crazy.
Yeah, they brewed this with Carolina Reaper and scorpion peppers. You gonna try it? Dude, you don't like them?
Oh no, I just can only do.
Oh yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Yeah, because like to me, like I love peppers, and this is not super hot. It's hotter than habanero sculpin to me. But I always thought habanero sculpin was hit and miss.
You ever had ghost face killa?
Yeah.
I don't think I want Ghostface Killer.
No,
you do not.
That one's up there. It's funny because like Peticolas does that Ghost of Alfred Brown, and I've never thought that was hot at all. Like to me, I get a little heat on it, but nothing crazy.
That even gives you some heat afterwards. Like it's.
Yeah, I was at a beer bar and I was with a buddy of mine. I was like, hey, what do you recommend? And they're like, oh, a lot of people order this Ghostface Killer. I was like, really? So we get it. I mean, and it just tears us up. And I was like,
yeah, it's
like the server comes back. I was like, what did I do to you? Like what? Or why did you recommend? Why did you recommend that?
The hottest thing that I've ever had was, and you know this, but the Trinity cider in Deep Ellum. They do a cider with ghost pepper in it, and they used to make you sign a waiver before you had it.
Really?
Yeah, and we used to go there because my lady friend loves cider a lot. And so we'd go there. They make actually, like, if you like cider, I think they probably make the best in the area, personally, for me. Anyway, so we go up there, and the guy's like, hey, man, I just put this out where you can drink it with the ghost pepper in it, and it's way hotter than the last time you were in here. I was like, really? I was like, huh. I was like, well, he goes, yeah, like, it's really hot. I was like, okay, let's try it. And so I tried it, and it was to the point, like, my lips swelled up. Like it was that hot. Like it was. I
don't want something that hot.
No, it's like like oh my god. But I finished it. But that was way hotter than this. And this has Carolina Reaper and scorpion peppers in it.
I just, I know however hot it is going in.
Yeah.
And that's where you just got to limit it, man. Because like I don't want my entire day tomorrow to be ruined, you know.
Yeah. So, anyways, there it is. That's Curse of the Seven Scorpions. It's a mango chili IPA from Hop and Sting, and we had them on the podcast last week. And all these beers today are available at Beer Geek Shop in downtown Rockwall. So check them out. They're huge supporters of the show, big friends of us, and they always are helping us out. They're in downtown Rockwall on the square in San Jacinto Plaza. So if you are in that area and you know where Charlie's is or Zanata, they're right there next to Zanata. And I mean, Jason and Deidre know their beer, man. Like you can literally walk over and be like, hey, what was that pepper thing they were trying the other day? They know what we're talking about, and they will have it for you to try at Beer Geek Shop in downtown Rockwall. But that, my friends, is another fantastic version of Just a Sip. And while we have Carl here, because I'm curious, you guys ever thought about brewing anything with peppers?
We've got a couple. Well, I say a couple. We have one recipe that's got some Serrano in it that we've been discussing bringing that one out. But just like I mean, I like this kind of level of heat where it's just enough to kind of give a little tingle.
Enough to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because to me, like I've always thought, if you're going to put on the can that there's whatever pepper or chilies in it, I want to taste like what you're putting on there that you say this is with. You know what I mean? Like some breweries will do whatever hatch chili, whatever, and then you taste it like, really? There's hatch in this? Like I guess I get a little bit. But to be fair, some people are more sensitive than others. Some people could have the same beer. Like some people could drink this beer like, oh my god, my tongue's on fire. And then I drink it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is great.
See, I think I'm like the normal guy. I didn't think it was that. I mean, I felt it, but I didn't feel it. You know what I'm saying?
But it's a difference between doing like a one-off thing where you could just put it on the tap wall versus you're going to try to can it and put it out for public consumption. And then, how many people want to taste heat? How many people are going to seek out a 6-pack of whatever? I would buy that a lot, but I
and
love
he drank the whole thing.
But I like that style of beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, I think if it's balanced with all the other flavors, I think it's a nice. I mean, obviously we eat spicy food.
True.
So yeah, why not? Why not beer?
All right, man. Thanks for sitting down for a minute. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we continue with you guys here on the podcast. Obviously, Jean-Jacques Taylor, Matt McLaren. And again, just a reminder, if you hear some noises in the background, we are out here at Manhattan Project Brewing Company today as we will sit down with the owner. Well, one of the owners. It's multiple husband and wife that owns it, but Misty Sanford's going to sit down with us here shortly. But right now we are excited to welcome in a man that you know well, that has been covering the Cowboys almost as long as you.
1 year removed.
Right up there with you from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, the greatness of Clarence E. Hill Jr. We call him Chill. What up?
Okay, first of all, let's clarify this record.
All right.
What do we clarify?
Let's clarify then.
First of all, I'm the longest tenured beat writer in Cowboys history. First of all, let's just clarify the record.
No, that's true because I got moved to columnist.
Okay, whatever the reason. So whatever the reason, just say it. Don't say almost as long as you.
He started in 1996. I've covered it in a bunch of different capacities. So
No.
Okay, it's okay that you have moved up the ladder. That's okay.
However you want to slice it.
That's awesome.
Check this out, Matt. They won Super Bowls under my watch. They ain't won shit under his.
That's fine. I would take all of that, but just make sure we had the record right.
Just spell his name right.
All right, you are what your record says you are.
I got a question for you, and I put this in the paper. So it's just real for me, and I thought about it before I put it. But I put it because I believe it. Will the Cowboys score Sunday against Pittsburgh?
Oh, my God.
Because I picked 31-0.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I don't see him scoring.
Listen, that's a good point, and that's a good perspective, and there's reason and legitimate to have those thoughts.
Right, I'm not taking shots. I'm being serious.
It's really hard to shut teams out in the NFL, but starting a fourth quarterback for the Cowboys
who ain't really played.
You're right, and that's the funniest thing that I've ever heard this week. And this is all you need to know about 2020. The Cowboys are going with the more experienced quarterback. They're going with the more experienced quarterback. Ben DiNucci has more NFL passes than both of these quarterbacks.
Combined, yeah.
It's not even close.
I know.
But goodness gracious. Garrett Gilbert has 6 career passes. The other guy has 3 career passes. It's not even close. They have been in a quarterback room longer than Ben DiNucci, but they don't have more game experience than Ben DiNucci. But this is where we are. They're the more experienced guys because, they've had a cup of coffee and been able to hang around for more years, but not actually being allowed to play.
So who do you think it's going to be? Because apparently it's like, we want a whole week of practice so we can see them between Cooper Rush and Garrett Gilbert.
Got to be Cooper Rush.
That's what I would think because he knows the offense, right?
I think it's got to be Garrett Gilbert.
Really? Why do you think that?
We know what we got in Cooper Rush. Everybody knows what you have in Cooper Rush. Kellen Moore did not like Cooper Rush that he had to start a one-arm Dak Prescott last year in Philadelphia. They did not want to put Cooper Rush on the field at all last year.
Well, let me see. I agree with that point. But I would say when you're comparing Cooper Rush to one-arm Dak Prescott, okay, give me one-arm Dak Prescott. When you're comparing Cooper Rush to Garrett Gilbert.
And one arm was his throwing arm that was no good.
You still might decide that at least you've seen him practice for 2 years. You've practiced with him. At least you've seen him. Garrett Gilbert, now, we're talking about the skinniest fat guy. Ain't neither one of these guys worth 2 dead flies.
Wait, hold on. I just remembered. Are you saying Garrett Gilbert because of Texas?
Or SMU, or the XFL, or any other spare league where he played in?
Because we haven't seen him, I guess. The Cowboys have seen Cooper Rush. Obviously, they signed him back because of experience, because of his knowledge of the offense.
Yeah.
But he's been here 2 days.
Oh, actually, Chill makes a good point. They signed Garrett Gilbert when Cooper Rush was still available.
That's true, they did,
They could have signed Cooper Rush.
Right, so maybe it is the fact that we having the conversation. Answer the question, bro. Are they going to score Sunday?
No, I'll just go with you.
Okay, see, I wasn't taking shots, man. But if you look at it like them averaging, if they average 7 points a game over the last 3 games and 250 yards, and they're playing a defense that is at least as good, if not better than the one Washington had,
right?
Then, and it's a quarterback with 0 experience, much like DiNucci last week. I just find it hard to believe that they're going to score. And it's not taking shots and being mean. It's just like, look at the facts, and you tell me how they're going to come up with points.
Hey, the wind won't be blowing. The wind was very hard in Philadelphia. Couldn't throw the ball downfield. We're going to get one YOLO pass, right?
Okay.
One YOLO.
There it is.
One YOLO that somebody's going to break some. CD Lamb, Murray Cooper, somebody's going to get behind that defense, right? You know, the funny thing is Pittsburgh's defense is better than Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's
easily.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure they are.
Pass rush is worse. Secondary is better. They got a safety, Minka Fitzpatrick. It's ugly. It's going to be ugly watching this game. I don't know. Why is Troy Aikman doing this? They couldn't switch this off and get somebody else.
If they could, it's Dallas, Pittsburgh, I guess. I don't know. So, Chill, what's the latest that you know? I mean, is this thing with Zeke Elliott and the hamstring, is that cause for concern on Sunday?
I mean, he's limited. I mean, and I think that's one reason why you didn't see him play much in the second half against Philadelphia, the hamstring injury. I mean, I guess it's cause for concern, but, you know, since we looking at all these negative statistics, what difference is it going to make? What difference has he made this year?
Probably true.
Wow.
I mean, you know, realistically, he has not been a difference maker. He has not been a guy that said, okay, the offensive line is bad, the quarterback's bad, I'm going to be the $90 million back and make a difference. You know, he has been bad with the rest of them. He has not been a difference maker. So if he's limited, that doesn't give you – I mean, that doesn't give you reason to say, hey, maybe we should try Tony Pollard. You know, he does have a little more juice. You saw against Philadelphia when he was in there that he had a little more explosion, you know, with some of his runs. That may help the team, but this has been a disappointing season for Zeke. 8 straight games without 100 yards is unheard of. I mean, it makes you wonder, you know, do they consider moving on?
Seems like it's too early for that from a contractual standpoint.
Wow.
But you know, the money only goes up. His base salaries only get higher. His cap figures only get higher in the next 2 years. And so, yeah, it seems like it's too much from a contractual standpoint. But you might want to, you know, and I guess the uncertainty about the cap probably, you know, plays into that. But goodness gracious, you're going to be tied for a lot of money for somebody who's just been average at best in 2020.
Now, you know, it pains me to say that, but I can't say nothing about it. I mean, it is what it is. He's got 8 straight games. That's the longest of his career. You know, I think one of the underrated things about Zeke that people just kind of took for granted is he had 700-yard games as a rookie. He had 5 that second year because he only played 10 games. And then he had 7 each of the last 2 years. So he's been incredibly consistent. And now, some of it's the offensive line, but, you know, and some of it's the games because they got behind so early they haven't been able to use them. But as Chill would say, the bottom line is it doesn't matter why you're ineffective or why you're not putting up numbers if the bottom line is the numbers are not there. And we can come up with 1,000 reasons, some valid or some your fault, as I like to say, some not your fault. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is the productivity that we pay for whatever reason, ain't been there.
Yeah, and the bottom line is it also, if we need 3 all-pro linemen for you to get off, well, I can go get a cheaper back to get off behind 3 all-pro linemen.
Now,
you know, I don't have to pay you $90 million to get for you. If I need pay you $90 million and also need 3 all-pros for you to be great, you know, that's not adding up.
Now, my whole thought process with Zeke, which was true for a couple years, but is not true now, is if you put a great back behind a great line, then great things could happen. If you put a good back behind a great line, you know, good things may happen a little bit better, but I was expecting greatness with the combination of those two, and you just haven't had it.
No, it's a huge disappointment, and it's funny to me. Just going further, that everybody's excited about the progress the defense made. Can we acknowledge that? Can we acknowledge that Carson Wentz was awful, was dreadful?
Oh, he was horrible,
dude.
Was dreadful. Was downright dreadful. Any competent quarterback would have done so much more against the Chuck, because they still can't stop the run.
Right.
And listen, I love Trevon Diggs. Those were just two bad overthrows, two horrible decisions they made. He made the play on the ball, but those were nowhere near the sack fumble that Wilson got. He could have easily thrown that ball away.
Easily,
He could have easily hit all day to throw it away. What do you think? What is going on in his head that he's still holding on to that ball?
I wondered the same thing, man. I was like, that is a fifth-year quarterback. A fifth-year quarterback made that play. Not a rookie, not a second-year dude. And to your point, Chill, I think when you look at this game against Pittsburgh, Philadelphia with their receiving weapons, they have none. They really don't. No. Pittsburgh's coming in here, and they've got Juju Smith. They've got Chase Claypool. They've got James Washington, who can burn. Eric Ebron at tight end. James Conner at running back. Pittsburgh's got a ton of weapons with a quarterback who's not going to make the types of throws that Wentz was making last Sunday.
No, not at all. And again, listen, I love Trevon Diggs' potential, love his future, love his ball skills, but he gets beat, and he got beat a couple of times in that game, and you're going to see the same thing, except you won't see Ben making those poor decisions on throws that he shouldn't make.
I think the thing about it is, man, Trayvon, we grasping for something good because the season is lost. And I think he was fine, because my whole thing is, it's not okay to give up plays, but I understand it happens. But can you at least take some back? And so I was happy to see that, he gave up some plays, but then he took some back. The worst thing is when you give up play after play after play and you never get anything back. Who wants that? That's like taking out the bank all the time, then you wonder why you bounced the check. Not that I've ever done that in the last few years, but early in my college days,
it happens,
that was a regularity.
Man. I mean, I'm no stranger to that.
It happens to grown folks too. It's okay. I mean, things happen. Life happens.
The worst is when you're at the gas pump and it goes card declined. You're like, God damn, how am I supposed to get anywhere?
Dude, that happened to me this week. Not that, but this other thing happened to me that relates to this. I'm on I was on NFL Game Pass on Sunday, looking up some stuff and watching the game and making some notes on a couple plays. And then I got up Monday to do some more work, and it wouldn't work. It kept sending me back to this page. I am pissed. I am hot. So I'm looking all through the site, and I say, okay, here's where I can go to yell at them and say, get my account fixed. So I fill out whatever form I'm supposed to fill out, and they send it back. Okay, answer these couple questions, and I you know me, man, I'm sniffing them. Dude, I've had this thing for 7 or 8 years. I know how it works. Just reset the password and let me get on my way. I'm a journalist. I got work to do. And then they send me back a form. We have no record of you ever having paid for this. And I go, y'all are drunk. I sent back the thing. Your records are wrong. I'll show you my receipt in a minute. So I'm looking through my American Express year-end bill. I can't find it. I'm like, I've had this thing for 8 weeks. I've been using it for 8 weeks. I paid for it. Then I go look at another credit card bill in case I for whatever reason, charged it on something else. Yeah. I look at that year end. I can't find it. I go back to American Express. I look again. I can't find it. Oh, I don't know. Let me go look at my emails. I look at my emails. Yes, you have paid for it. It's up here. 2 days later came another email. We haven't been able to verify your credit card, so we're not authorizing
that sucks.
your pro. I'm like, well, why did it work for 8 weeks? And all of a sudden, it just now don't work. So now I owe them an apology, and I need to pay for my Game Pass.
Well, there you go. So, Chilla, any thoughts on that one?
I have none. I don't know what they got to do with this upcoming game against the Steelers and the Cowboys.
Hey, man, it's a bad season, so we just need to have fun.
It is a bad season. I was just looking at the second half of the season. If you want to have hope, the Cowboys only played 3 teams in the second half of the season with winning records. That's the Steelers, the Vikings, and the 49ers, who just lost their quarterback and just lost their tight end.
And the Ravens. The Ravens had them.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. The Steelers. I'm sorry. The Steelers, the Ravens, and the 49ers. So those only three teams with winning records right now on the Cowboys' second half schedule. You know, the rest of the teams, the NFC East, the Bengals, and the Vikings.
So who are they beating? Where are they getting another win from?
Where's the next win coming?
That's. I say they beat the Redskins not the Redskins. Beat Washington on Thanksgiving Day, and Andy Dalton wins his return home at the Bengals. Those are the only two wins.
Okay, let me just.
I got.
So 4-12.
I'm just asking.
All right.
Okay, last time I saw them play Washington, they could do nothing. Why will this game on Thanksgiving be different?
They have to show some fight. The embarrassing lack of fight in that game, not defending. They're going to be fired up for this game on Thanksgiving Day. They're going to win that game. At the end of the season, they should not try to beat the Giants because it's only going to hurt their draft chances. So they need to put all the young guys out there, put DiNucci out there. Do not try to win the season finale at New York. So I see the Washington game on Thanksgiving and the Bengals game and Andy Dalton revenge tour of Cincinnati.
I see one more win. I don't know where it's coming. I like your Washington theory if I think about it, but I don't know that this team got a whole lot of pride as a team. And so, you know.
Yeah, it's tough because you got the Vikings, but the Vikings got a running back, and the Cowboys can't stop the run, and he's going to run all over them in Minnesota.
Right.
I certainly believe that. I think Philadelphia will be healthy. There's no way that Wentz can have as bad a game as he had against the Cowboys last week, so I think they will be better, and they're going to be pushing for the playoffs. You know, certainly you give them no chance against the Steelers and Baltimore.
See, I think they
no
could
chance
beat
against Baltimore.
I think they could beat San Francisco because San Francisco is like them. It's a team decimated by injuries, a team that entered the season with high expectations, and a team beat down from losing in a year they didn't expect to lose.
Yeah, there's a chance, but they also have a dominating run game.
Yeah, and they got a better coach.
And the Cowboys have the worst run defense in the league.
This is true.
Fair enough.
Have you? What is your thoughts on McCarthy?
There was a thought process before the season that the biggest off-season acquisition was McCarthy and his coaching staff, bar none. From the free agents, all of that. The biggest thing the Cowboys did in the off-season was bring on McCarthy and his coaching staff. That was the thought process. The coaching staff is going to make the difference. It's going to be difference makers. They're going to finally have somebody in the coaching booth that's going to be a winner and be a difference maker for this team. And this coaching staff, and McCarthy's part of it, has let them down. The special teams coach has been awful. Okay, let's be honest about it. Everybody thought Foster was going to make this huge difference on special teams. They've been awful on special teams. Aside from one BS onside kick that Atlanta just didn't cover. The defense, again, awful. And McCarthy, for a guy who was supposed to come in and be this offensive genius, he has not been able to stem the tide. He's not been able to stop the bleeding. And then just to say it's Kellen Moore's baby, I didn't hire you for Kellen Moore. The Cowboys fans, whether Jerry Jones likes it or not, didn't bring you in here because of you're going to let Kellen Moore have all the impact on offense, all the influence on offense. You spent this whole year telling everybody over the last year about what you learned. You've been in the dungeon. You studied every team and all this other stuff. You were supposed to be a difference maker. He's not been a difference maker.
Very true. All right, Joe. We appreciate the time, man. Thanks for giving us a little bit of it this afternoon.
Thanks, bro.
All right, man. Keep doing what you guys are doing. Good luck, man.
All right, thank you. There he is, Clarence E. Hill Jr. of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Always good to talk to him. Many of you that listen probably have learned by now, every Thursday afternoon, and I know a lot of you are listening to this on a Friday or whenever the hell you listen to it, but as many of you are aware, every week we go to a local craft brewery here around the Dallas-Fort Worth, North Texas area, sit down, hang out for a bit, drink some beers, and just talk craft beer, because that's something that, well, now Jacques is really into, that I forced him to be into, that I'm really into. And this week we find ourselves here at Manhattan Project Brewing, which, for those that may not know, is a fairly new facility, I guess, I would say. And it's on the west side of downtown Dallas. So if you're familiar like where Trinity Groves is, it's kind of that, but south. This is the Sylvan 30 area, technically, I believe.
Yeah, it's right behind the old post office.
Well, let's ask, because Misty, the owner, founder that runs a lot, her and her husband, Carl, Misty and Carl, are the owners of Manhattan Project.
Correct.
And you're sitting down with us. So
Yeah.
what do you call this area?
West Dallas.
West Dallas?
Just
Okay.
West Dallas. Or I like to use the jail as a a mile marker.
Right.
Landmark. Yeah, so we're 1 mile from the jail and 1 mile from downtown.
Yeah, and it's funny because I used to live, those apartments that were right there, that are right there, I used to live right there.
Okay, you've lived everywhere though, so.
Well, that's true. Yeah, and you guys opened right after we moved because I used to run over here and I was so excited. You know, I ran into you. I'm like, oh, I can't wait till you open because I can walk to you guys. And then we moved and I was like, man,
Why this spot? What appealed to you?
Carl and I have lived in Oak Cliff, West Dallas for over 10 years. So we've built a really strong community out here. We really love the area and the neighborhood. And we just decided that this is where we wanted to be. We looked at some other areas, like we looked at the Cedars, like back when the Cedars was really starting to be something that people suspected would be huge. It never happened, so I'm glad that all of our deals out there fell through. And then we ended up here.
yeah, this is, because Steam Theory, which is, I guess, over there in Trinity Grove.
Right.
And it's interesting because there's too close. And then, as you mentioned, like Oak Cliff Brewing isn't too far down the road.
Yeah, I wish there'd be more. I mean, this whole little area is full of like great warehouses that are tall enough. Like the density's good, so I wish more would come over here.
Now, see, I think that's interesting because most of the time businesses act like they don't want the so-called competition.
That's silly. No, you want that.
See, I think it's good, too, because as somebody who loves going to breweries, I like to go to breweries when there's a couple that I can hit.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people in the beer world like to go to 1, 2, 3 on a Saturday or whatever. And if you have that opportunity and you know that, okay, I can Uber around,
or walk.
And you can hit a couple places.
Yep.
Then it's great. Like Asheville, for instance, there's a brewery on every corner in Asheville.
Right.
And they all love each other. Like,
Talking about North Carolina?
Yeah.
That's kind of random.
Dude,
no, it's a huge beer community.
Yeah, it's like the mecca of craft
that
beer.
and furniture.
In Asheville, I wouldn't know.
Oh, see?
I didn't go to any furniture places. So what started the process for you guys to decide that, okay, we're going to try and own a brewery?
Because I haven't heard anybody who said it's a good idea.
Oh, yeah. It's a very expensive idea.
Yeah, it is.
Our wedding.
Really?
Yeah. So this was back when we were working corporate jobs, a decade ago. And we were really into beer. I was traveling all the time for work and, on the company's dime. So then Carl would then fly out at the end of my business trip and just meet me wherever we were. And we'd spend the weekend drinking beer. Back when we had disposable income and no children. So it was easier to do that sort of thing. And so we got really into beer. Jeremy, who's our head brewer and partner, he was a good friend at the time, and he was home brewing. And he was just really getting the home brewing started. And so when we got engaged, we had asked Jeremy if he would brew a beer for our wedding. And so we decided we wanted to do a beer toast instead of a champagne toast, and we had just returned from Belgium. This was still this was long enough ago that Belgian beer was still like the thing to drink, and the U.S. just hadn't really taken off yet.
Really?
Yeah. So, and that beer is on our tap wall today. So our wedding beer that started all of it, it's called Inception. Back then, it was called Edgar Singer, but nobody could pronounce that or know what it was referenced. We had a lot of names back in the homebrew days that just are not marketable at all.
Right.
So, like Half-Life was called Little Boy.
Ain't no man drinking a beer called Little Boy.
No, but I mean...
exactly. You don't want a grown man to order a little boy.
Yeah, but with the affiliation with the Manhattan Project and all that, it makes sense. But so you get to that point where when you were brewing at that level, when did you decide Manhattan Project and the theme of that kind of World War II and all the stuff that went into the program?
That happened actually before we started brewing. So we were on one of our beer trips. We were sitting it was actually my birthday. It's my 30th birthday. We were sitting at a bar in San Diego. And it was the end of the night, and the bar was just covered in tap handles of like every beer they've ever tapped and 10 tackers. And we were a little tipsy, and so we were looking around, looking at all of these different brands, and then coming up with random ideas like someone should do this name someday, someone should do that name. And Carl threw out Manhattan Project, and we're like, it just be so easy because then every beer name would be immediately recognizable as ours, as related to that. And it was someone someday I mean, fast forward 9 months, and we didn't realize that someone would be us. So
That's crazy.
yeah.
How'd you go from that to the concept in 9 months?
Well, so then we got engaged and we started making beer together. So prior to that we had not been making beer. So then we got engaged soon after that, and that's when we realized how much fun it was and how much we enjoyed working together and how well we worked together.
I was gonna say, so y'all were just doing it for fun.
Yeah, we were doing it for fun, doing amateur competitions, all of that junk, and then people kept asking us for the beer. People were asking to invest, so we started.
Really?
So we started going down that road.
Yeah, it's interesting because I first discovered you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, but originally you were contracting out of Bitter Sisters, right?
That's correct, yeah.
And then you moved over to Grapevine.
Yep.
And then here.
Yep,
essentially.
yeah.
Okay.
We took a very unconventional method to launch, and it was purely based on finances and ownership. So if we could have, jumped into something like this immediately, which is what most breweries do, but because of our lack of experience, I mean, none of us had ever worked in a brewery. None of us had ever commercially produced beer. So because of our lack of experience, banks didn't want to talk to us. And then we attracted all of the wrong investors. And so investors that just wanted to completely own us. So we found a loophole in TABC law, which is and at that time, I mean, TABC it's very common now, but at that time, TABC was so unfamiliar with this alternating proprietorship idea that we had to walk them through the law so that we could get licensed.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Imagine
and then
that.
it was literally a difference. I mean, our startup cost with the method that we took was a little over $100,000, so we could bootstrap that. Where to build this and to launch here was $4 million. So it was a difference between $100,000 and $4 million.
Now that's a big difference now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now what made you decide to go from amateurs, we're having fun, this is all cool, to let's make this a business?
It was either, we knew we were onto something. The demand was there. Carl and I were already business owners. We had other businesses. And it was either going to be a very expensive hobby or we were going to pursue it from a financial standpoint. Yeah. And then everything just kind of aligned. Jeremy was ready to move away from his job. Carl and I was kind of tired of my business and ready for a new challenge, and same with Carl.
Yeah, I was going to say, because when I first ran into you guys, this was a few years ago, and we didn't know each other at the time, but we were up a Thirsty Growler in the Colony.
Yeah.
And you guys were in there kind of telling people about Manhattan Project. And
that may have been the opening week.
I think it was.
Yeah.
And you had some, maybe stickers or koozies, something you were giving out.
And a small infant.
Yeah. And I grabbed one of them from you guys. Yeah. And I remember talking to you a bit. And you're like, oh, yeah, we've got a couple beers that we have tapped on kegs here. And yeah, so that was when I first discovered Manhattan Project, was at Thirsty Growler that night. And I've been a big fan of you guys ever since. And I think it's one thing, and we've talked about this in conversations we've had in the past as we do this every week, where I think Dallas-Fort Worth is finally getting to a point where you have to brew good beer.
Absolutely.
To be competitive.
Yeah, I mean, and COVID just enhanced that even further. Yeah.
Like in some of the breweries that we have seen that have gone by the wayside, that if you're really into beer, we could all make a list, but that their beer was not on par. And it's finally gotten to a point which I think has elevated Dallas-Fort Worth, and you guys were a part of that because you are making consistently high-quality beer.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think as the market matured, as the breweries matured.
Now, what does that mean?
So Texas was really slow to allow beer outside of the state in, good beer in. And Texas makes it difficult to get beer in here, and so until the laws changed, but. Our palates were a little bit stunted, and that's why my husband and I would travel and leave Texas to go drink beer. So our palates were a little bit stunted because beer wasn't coming into here. So our bars did not reflect the rest of the country. And then as more breweries opened, they introduced the locals to better beer.
Yeah, and I think you guys are a big part of that with the facility that you've built here. And you talked about, this is a very impressive facility.
Thank you.
When you're trying to get it going, you run into problems with the city and things got to be one way or another. But then when it finally opens and you've got, really what I think is one of the nicer and probably one of the more cozy environment breweries in North Texas.
Let me see. See, that's
of the 5 that you've been to, where do you put this?
Well, see, I want this taken in the right way. I don't view it as cozy. I view it more as stylish. I mean, you can be cozy and stylish, I suppose. but it, I just view it as a swank place to be. I mean, and I said that before. I mean, y'all know me. If I don't like it, I'd be like, "Oh, it's nice." It's like if you now don't judge me because everybody's done this. Somebody says, "Oh, it's my baby," and you're like, "That's an ugly baby." I hope he grows in or she grows into a cute kid, and you go, "Oh." See, that's what I do if I don't like. But I thought this is probably the I don't know. It's got an upscale, modern feel to it. Most breweries I've been to feel like
the packaging and the brand.
Feel like it's a.
Yeah.
It really does.
It's more like a scaled down bar kind of thing. This one feels more like a restaurant-y feel to me. But it's cool. I mean, I like the colors.
Well,
I like the
they
black.
have food as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's. You know what? Let me tell you about this place. Before Missy tells you, let me tell you about this place.
Okay.
See, I went to a coffee shop this morning to work because sometimes I like to get out of the house when I got to write. Just a different environment, different vibe. And I was just thinking while I was sitting here looking around, I go, see, I might be in here, because this is the first time I've been here. It's like I might be in here in the next few days to come in and write because it's the right environment. It's nice. It's close enough. It's got a patio if the weather's nice. I'm drinking some kind of fancy blueberry vanilla latte I've never had. And all of that appeals to me in terms of just a place to come hang out and write because it's kind of cool.
Good.
Yeah.
We created zones. I mean, first of all, nobody's butt likes to sit at a picnic table for extended periods of time. So by design, there is no, every seat in here has a back with the exception of the bar. It's a comfortable seat.
Yeah.
But then we wanted people to be able to, it's not just a brewery where there's crazy kids and crazy drunk people, but there's zones. So like where we're sitting at right here, I mean, by design, it's only two-person tables so that you can have a date night. And then if you wanted to come on another night with a group of friends, then you're going to be over in the larger area where there's more common tables and you can be a little bit rowdier. It's, there's different soundproofing down there. There's even different audio channels so that the music can be louder down there and it can be softer down here. So
now, why'd you decide to do it like that? Because most breweries aren't like this.
I don't like the vibes of most breweries. Am I being honest? I mean,
no, we're all about honesty now.
It's not somewhere I want to hang out regularly. Right. So,
yeah, because this does have, I've noticed that before.
This ain't like any of the other breweries I've been to.
Well, I've never sat on this side because I'm never here just with one or two people. Like we ran into you. What was that, Saturday night? After Celestial's anniversary party, and everybody was up here, and we'd been drinking and having a good time. There's like 8 of us that ended up over on that side.
In the rowdy area.
Yeah, being a little rowdy for certain people that were with us.
By design, you guys are in the rowdy area.
Yeah, and, you have this great patio like Jacques was talking about that when like today is a gorgeous day. You could sit out on the patio and enjoy the day. It's, this is a really cool place.
No, I'm not just saying that. It's nice for real.
Well, thank you. Well, and we wanted it to reflect the product and the brand, and we didn't want that.
You keep saying brand, and marketing, and this and that. Did you feel like? And I did some research, so I know you got degrees and everything.
Yeah.
Are you using it more than you thought, or is this what you intended when you got the degrees in marketing and stuff?
Oh, did I intend to be a brewery owner? No.
No, but the fact that you can use all that to enhance this.
No, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, when I was coming out of college, I thought I was going to do my last company forever. I thought I was going to own a huge agency, and that was the intent for a while, and it was growing. But I mean, that's only so much fun for so long because clients are difficult.
I think we all think that.
So is this fun?
Oh, I love it.
What makes this fun?
Oh, it's the team. It's the fact that the job is not the same every day. I don't know what I'm getting into. I have a working. I'm very structured. I have a working plan for every day, but there's always wrenches every single time. So.
Yeah, I think one thing, because for those that don't know, I worked in a brewery for a couple of years, and, one of the things that I love about the community is that familial community feel that you get, team, like
and
you're talking about.
And we have every type of, and this is something I try to explain to people too, especially like when sensitive things come up like COVID and unemployment and, elections. We have every type of employee you can imagine here. from production to the kitchen to sales, that are very, sales are very commission based, to leadership and management. I mean, like every type of employee you can imagine. So it's a really good exposure and awareness of, I guess.
Yeah, and it's cool because, to me, anybody who's ever worked in the service industry, when I waited tables when I was right out of college, I was around people that I don't think I ever would have been friends with if I had to choose them. But the fact that we were all working together for one common goal and we could understand what everybody was going through, we ended up becoming really good friends. And it was like that for me at the brewery as well, where there were people, I don't know if I would randomly run into them and be friends with them, but we all love craft beer. We were all working for one common goal and could understand the frustrations and whatnot that go into the local brew world with the different
It becomes
things.
family.
Yeah, and it's you become really close with these people, even if they have way different political views or whatever views about anything, you can always just hang out, have a couple of beers, and shoot the shit, essentially, which is great, I think. But I was curious because to get back into the brand part of it, I think the way you guys did your cans, because I remember when I first started seeing them in stores, it's like, man, you know exactly whose cans those are. That black matte can and then the white that just... In a world in which a lot of breweries are doing like these crazy can designs and stuff, right. Somehow being just black and white just jumped off the shelf.
Yeah, well, it was by design and I spent plenty of time in the grocery store aisles just looking at the noise and figuring out, okay, how the heck are we going to stand out? And while standing there and looking at things and observing who was picking up cans, I realized that nobody I couldn't scream louder than anybody else on the shelf because all of the cans were screaming.
Right.
So if you can't scream louder, then you do the exact opposite. So instead we became the quiet void on the shelf. And our shelf placement is generally pretty good at most stores. So we're that void right in the middle of the shelves at the door handle.
And it works. And that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
Like all the studies that go into that where people look in their eyes and where you're trying to get his shelf placement. And all that's
then another thing too is, nothing against breweries that reference sex or drugs or anything else, but I wanted to have a beer can and beer names that would be appropriate to have on the dinner table with grandma or whoever else. And you don't want to talk about having sex in a canoe when you're sitting with your grandma having dinner.
That's true. And
I want the can to belong on the table just as much as a wine bottle.
Right. Yeah, and they do. And again, the beer in it is really good. And you guys have been doing a lot of good styles, like you talked about some of the Belgian styles, like Wise Monkeys that you guys do and things like that. And then you're bringing up the coffee stout that. And Jack's like, oh yeah, black matter. I've had that. I love it. And then your coconut porter, which I think is one of the best porters in North Texas. What is that? The Plutonium 239, as I recall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your hazies are really good. And one thing I like is that you have diverse styles, and you're brewing the hazies, which everybody feels everybody's doing those now. But you're also staying true to what your core was, which is just really high quality beers that are diverse that not everybody's doing.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's really easy to fall into the trendy trap. But you have to, in which the hazy, hazy is not going anywhere, so I shouldn't call it trendy, but it is a trap because it's easy money. But you want that diverse portfolio, and you want people to keep coming back. And our hazies sell well, but they're not number one. So
what is your best seller?
And so it's always a toss up between Half-Life and Necessary Evil.
Half-Life's really good.
Which Half-Life's a baby hazy. I call it a baby hazy. But in the tap room. But then a lot of the other styles like Wise Monkeys, the Plutonium, a lot of the other stuff does extremely well. The Gozes do really well too.
Yeah. I think like with the coconut porter, like we've had this conversation before. To me, there's not a lot of breweries that are doing, especially in North Texas, that are doing really good porters. So when you find a really good porter,
style.
It is, and even for me, like I'm always a stout guy. Like I love stouts, but if you brew a really good porter, it can be just as good.
Yeah,
but not everybody's brewing a good porter.
Yeah, how come?
It's not, well, the ABV is it's definitely lower than stouts, and stouts get heavily adjunct, which means they put a lot of different flavors and extracts and things in there. And I don't see that as much in porters. Porters are a little bit harder to make too, in my opinion. When you heavily adjunct a stout, you can hide a lot of flaws.
Oh, kind of like a lager.
No, you
can't.
The opposite.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I didn't say it right, but that's what I meant.
Right,
yeah. So I don't know. Especially right now, given the times that we're in, we find that there's a lot of ABV chasers. So, I mean,
what does that mean?
They want the beer with the higher alcohol.
Yeah, they want the 12-13% so they can get drunk fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny, man. That's true. There's a lot of big beers that are, that you see around town now. And I didn't think about that, about being
Oh, yeah. Our Wise Monkey sales were crazy during the shutdown because they were just ABV chasers. So it was either that, they were Wise Monkeys because they wanted 10%, or it was the complete opposite. They wanted the lowest ABV so they could just drink all day long while working from home.
Golly, yeah. I mean, see,
That's sad.
It is sad.
It is part of it. And so, and again, here at Manhattan Project, you guys, and we've been talking a lot about the beer, but both of you are sipping on something else that you guys do.
Okay.
And you are a brewery that opens very early in the morning because you serve coffee.
Yes, coffee and breakfast.
See, I was checking out the website, and I saw it was a coffee bar too, and I started tripping. What made y'all do that?
Well, Carl and I spend a lot of money on coffee, so it was a good financial investment for ourselves. No, I'm
but kind of not kidding.
Any truths are said in jest now.
No, we really enjoy coffee. We love coffee almost as much as we love beer. Prior to opening this, we would do little home roast of coffee with a popcorn machine at home, and so we really wanted to have coffee here, and we knew it would be something that we could draw people in, especially based on our location, our proximity to downtown. The downtown office buildings, were just they used to just dump into this area at lunchtime or for coffee meetings. And so we knew it would be a good draw, and it's a nice perk for our employees too, to be able to have really great coffee. And coffee and beer goes together. I mean, you want your uppers and your downers, and it's one more thing to keep butts in seats. So,
you and Jerry Jones?
Yeah, and they've been building up this area a lot. I mean, obviously, I was talking maybe before we started recording. I used to live in the apartments that are right over here, and they've been building more, and hundreds of people that are just moving down right in this area.
It's crazy.
Where you can just walk here.
Yeah, and it's nice. I mean, coffee is just the payback on the machine. I don't know if people like to hear about business, but it could be really boring. But the payback on the machine can be very fast. Payback on the machine, the espresso machine is way faster than anything out there in production. And it's because we don't have to pay rent for the coffee machine. We're using this space. We're paying for this space for 24 hours a day, so we might as well have people in here as much as possible.
Yeah, and it works. I mean, it's when I used to live here, right before we moved, you drive by and there would be people, there is a morning crowd for you guys.
Yep.
And you can tell that is something. And, I don't know. I was trying to I don't know if anybody else is doing that.
Didn't we read something last week about more restaurants or bars trying to become coffee spots in the morning?
Yeah, that was the Old Monk that decided to do that kind of a thing where they're going to do a coffee thing in the morning and then shut down completely at 1 for 2 hours and reopen as the Old Monk bar at 3. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because it's kind of like what you were talking about.
And they don't have a coffee shop right there.
No, and so they're putting in something in the inside because apparently the article I was reading was saying that especially during these times we're not open until 3. So when we close at 2 a.m. from that time all the way till 3, we might as well open and see if we can have some people coming in.
Which is kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're paying for the space. I never really thought about it.
I mean, our team gets here between 6 and 6:30 in the morning for production. So we're here. We might as well serve customers while we're here.
Yeah, and it works. And like I was thinking, I know Armadillo up in Denton, there's a little coffee thing out of that, but I don't think they open early specifically for them.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't think anybody else is doing anything like this as far as, production brews, especially in Dallas.
Yeah, probably not. I don't think so.
Now, why did y'all decide to serve food? Because most tap rooms serve
butts in seats.
See, and I will say this, and it's not just serve food. I think a lot of people, when they think brewery food, are thinking little snacks and stuff.
Finger sandwiches and chips.
The food that they serve here is legit food where you could come and just make your meal the first reason why you came here, and the beer secondary.
Yeah, we have a completely scratch kitchen. The only thing that we do not make is ketchup, and that's because Chef says there's no better ketchup than Heinz, and he's not going to waste his time on ketchup.
Right.
So I mean, even our mayo, our aioli is made from scratch. Our yogurt in our morning yogurt bowls, he makes the yogurt from scratch. The entire kitchen, and our entire kitchen's gluten free too.
And it is good.
Yeah, and then so we love beer, coffee, and food. So we just wanted to tie all of it in. And so the other thing that's kind of interesting that we think is really special about the kitchen is that we fry everything in beef tallow. So we use beef fat, which is a much healthier cooking oil. We've removed seed oils.
And whose idea was that?
That was mostly Carl.
All right.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's something that most chefs don't want to do. Beef fat's expensive.
Yeah.
But that's why the fries are so good.
I mean, the food here is legit really good.
Yeah.
Like most times when I come here, I also end up eating because I love those arepa things that you guys make. And I mean, they're just like, I feel like I could eat 10 of them. They're just awesome. I've told you that before. Like, I love those things, man. I had 3 the other night when I came in here.
You came in here the other night?
On Saturday night, Halloween night. I was wearing my costume, Misty saw me
lied to me. I thought you were at Celestial all night.
No, we went to Celestial. They closed at 7, and some of the guys that work at Celestial wanted to come over here. So
you're like my boys at the gym. I go and I find out they worked out without me. I'm like, y'all are full of shit. Man.
I mean,
like we supposed to be boys, and y'all are all over time, and y'all are working out.
No, but it was one of those things. Like I know a lot of people in the beer world, and so some of the guys that work, and like Matt Reynolds, the owner of Celestial that we've had on the podcast before, he was coming over here. I was like, all right, well, we'll roll over there and hang.
Interesting as somebody who's not in the beer world that all the breweries people seem to hang out or go to each other's businesses.
No,
that seems odd to me because in other businesses they don't do that. They're like they talk bad about their beer sucks. You wouldn't want to go there, or you know what I mean.
And it's not just hanging out. I mean, we sell raw materials back and forth to each other all the time. Someone doesn't.
Why is it?
I mean, there's some breweries we don't hang out with.
Well, there's always some 7-letter cuss words in any business.
I've always looked at it as, for the most part, and there are some breweries that I think are not on this idea, but I think most people that are in the brewing community locally have always looked at it as, it's a fight against the major domestics in a sense, and if we can get you to drink craft beer, eventually you'll come around and find us.
Yeah.
And so, it's the rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, so maybe you don't drink Manhattan Project, maybe you drink, whatever around here, and you're like, okay, well, if you like that beer, have you had the one from Manhattan? And you're like, no, I haven't. Then maybe you come over here and check it out, and it's just... I think it's one of those things, like it's good for the local craft beer community for everybody to be in it together versus we're going to do our own thing.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, I find it very interesting. I find it good because, as a country right now, we spend so much time screaming at each other.
Yeah.
That it's kind of cool for an industry where it ain't, where, everybody's struggling to make their mark, that they're all kind of like, yeah, you're cool. And
it's interesting you say that too, because sometimes we think we're stuck in this little bubble. I am very happy I'm stuck in this bubble. But I mean, we had an election party Tuesday night, and people told us we were crazy. I mean, there was even a local influencer that posted on.
Wasn't me.
On their stories asking if it was a good idea, and it was 94% no, but everybody had the best time. And we had a red beer and a blue beer. Everyone was choosing the color that they thought was going to win, and there was zero negativity. So it's like this little bubble where everybody respects each other, everybody's happy. We like to be this little happy space, and it's like that with a lot of breweries, I think.
Yeah, it is. And like most breweries, and you know how it is. You can walk in anywhere with a 6-pack or a case from you guys and go wherever it is. And be like, hey, I work at this place. I want to, and they'll be like, oh yeah, let me get you some of ours. And because everybody loves the beer.
Really?
Oh yeah, man. I used to do that all the time. I would travel with cases of beer when I went out of state, especially, and just walk in like, hey man, I'm from Dallas. I brought you guys some of this. And I'm like, oh, sweet. And then you want to take some of ours, and it's just trading, and everybody loves it.
Beer currency.
Oh yeah.
Beer currency. Let's start doing that.
I still do that sometimes. I've done it with most breweries in Little Rock, but because my lady friend's family lives in that area, so they don't have a lot of breweries there, but we've been to all those. But sometimes, if we're going to go see your dad out in Oxford and stuff, and I know that we're going to be in Memphis for a little bit, then I'll bring some local stuff because everybody likes that. Any place you go, the beer world loves beer. That's why they're working in the beer world.
Yeah, and everyone wants to taste.
Yeah, everybody wants to try new stuff that they've never had before and sit and be like, oh, what'd you do with this? How'd you make all this stuff? I mean, it's that's why we like having these conversations with everybody.
Yeah, this is all fascinating to me.
Yeah, because it's really cool. And I will say, and I thought this was really cool of you guys, you and Carl, that when you were building this, you guys actually moved over here and lived right here to be that hands-on with the process of everything that was going on.
Yeah. So we lived across the street. So our patio looked at this place, which, and we had a baby at the time. I think he was like between 6 and 9 months old when we started construction here. And it was just so handy because I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh, they're doing a concrete pour. Hey, Carl, did you know they're doing a concrete pour? It's 5 a.m. Is everything ready to go? But yeah, so, not that we lived far away. We lived 1.5 miles away before.
Right.
And then we lived, it was, our distance to here was so close that we used the internet. We shot the internet from the apartment to here so that we could have the security cameras going.
That's awesome.
And now we live. So a year ago we moved back behind the Belmont, not the really fancy expensive homes, but the cheap homes behind those. And so we lived back there, and I was actually torn for a little bit. I'm like, oh, I don't know if it's close enough. It's 0.7 miles door to door.
That's so awesome.
That's close enough.
But I always thought that was cool. And we know the people in the beer world, especially locally, there's not all breweries have owners that are as hands-on as you guys, that are as active. Like we'll see you at different events or wherever, and you're out and about. And I've always thought that was really cool about you guys to be that.
Family business.
But again, not all local breweries have owners that will do that. Like you never see them anywhere. And I don't know. I think that it just goes to show how into the local community you guys are, and it's kind of what we were just talking about, that familial aspect that makes people want to come and support places like this.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, and I think it is. We have a son, so a lot of our customers know our kid just as much as they know us, and they've literally seen him grow up. He was born 3 months before the brewery launched, so they've seen him for a while.
So, of all the beers that you guys do, what's your favorite?
Oh, Fission. That's my baby. So my second baby, Fission is.
That was no hesitation.
Yeah, Fission is we have it in cans right now. It's a a sparkling rosé inspired beer, and it's pink, super effervescent, super dry. I love really dry beer.
Really?
Yeah. So probably opposite of you, my coffee never has flavor, ever, and but yeah, so it kills it in the tap room. That's why we're out of it right now. Now it's one of those weird anomalies where I don't think it would perform very well in the market, but when we're in control of the sales experience here, we can sell it appropriately. And
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, that don't make sense to me.
Because if it goes to a bar or to a grocery store, people are going to see it, and it's not familiar enough for people to. It's a style that people are not accustomed to.
Right.
So you have to rely on your bartender or your waiter or the random beer person restocking at a shelf to sell it.
Explain why it's like the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what happens is you have to go in there and you train that staff or what. Like even at a grocery store, if you're trying to sell cans, you can go in there and talk, and then it's like, okay, well, how many times do I have to come in here and make sure I cover all the employees? And then, oh, by the way, the 2 bartenders you talked to last week no longer work here. Can you come back in and re-explain this beer to everybody? And it is. I think there are beers and beer styles that, unless you have a bar that. Like some of the growler stations where they're really into beer.
Yeah, they're an exception. Yeah.
But at a lot of random places like that, they don't care.
Yeah.
They'll sit there and act like they do when you're like, well, this beer is made this way for this. And if you tell people this is what it is, and they're like, oh, okay.
Yep.
And like, yeah, I got you. And then you go in there like, yeah, you want a sparkling wine? And you're like, what? No, that's, it's just different things like that.
Well, yeah. And so Fission, I really love rosé wine, especially in the summer. That's always like my go-to in the afternoons, evenings. And so I was like, I can't keep drinking this. I have to find a beer. We have to make a beer that can represent it. So that's what we did.
That's awesome. Yeah, you guys do, again, like I said, you do such a... Not only do you have a wide range, but I don't know that I've ever had a beer from you guys that's like, you missed on this one. But you have a good brewing team. The guys that you have here brew good beer.
We dump a lot of beer, too.
Which is good.
Yeah,
which
so...
you need to.
Yes.
Do you?
Yeah, so we have actually it's written into our company agreement that if the 3 of us don't unanimously approve a beer, it doesn't hit the wall.
That's impressive.
So the 3 of us have to approve every beer. And there's even times, too, where I've pulled... it's been a while. It was back when we were at Hop and Sting. I pulled a beer off the canning line, and it was Half-Life, and it was a little bit off. And so we actually stopped canning. I was like, this doesn't taste right. This isn't Half-Life. Half-Life is a fridge beer for so many people in the Metroplex that people that drink Half-Life every week, they're going to know when it's off. And that's something that we will absolutely not do. So we pulled it off and then looked at the schedule. I was like, what could possibly be going wrong? And Jeremy was like, oh, we canned it about 2 days too early. So we just let it sit for 48 hours, tasted it again, and it was fine. And then it hit the market.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then, and our testing process is pretty rigorous. So we start at 10 gallons, and that's where we dial in recipes. We do a lot of testing amongst the team and tasting and making sure it's something that we like, make adjustments, and then we'll scale it up to 3 barrels. And then that's when we do the proof of concept. So the proof of concept is where we think it's amazing, something that's absolutely delicious. Like fission is an example. So we'll put it on the wall in here, the tap wall, see how it performs. And then we may put a few kegs out into the market to see how the market responds to it. Because again, what performs here is not something that's going to perform in the market necessarily. And then if it's something that we want to scale up and it makes financial sense to scale up, because not all beer makes financial sense to scale up.
I was going to say, what makes a beer make financial sense?
The cost of raw materials and cost of packaging. Packaging's really expensive. So to put beers in cans is pretty dang expensive.
So you got to make sure that enough people are going to like it to make it.
Yeah, and there's a pricing threshold that we're comfortable with charging customers once it hits retail shelves. I get very squeamish if I'm asking customers to spend close to $20 on a 4-pack or 6-pack. It doesn't feel good to me. I know other breweries do it, but when we're producing pretty large scale batches, so we can't have the same pricing models as someone like Celestial.
Right.
And I know people would pay for it. It's just something I personally may have to get over in the next few months. So there's some beers like our Triple Hazy. We're playing with potentially distroing some of it. In cans, but it's going to be expensive. So I just feel like it's a really big ask. But so also
that's breaking news.
Yeah, it is. There it is.
And but that beer, that's a perfect example. So at a 3-barrel level of production, that beer costs $700 a barrel to produce.
Wow.
Now, for comparison purposes, something like Double Half-Life costs $175 a barrel to produce.
What the hell makes one beer cost that much and another not?
Some of the ingredients that go in the beer
y'all got some super secret hops from New Zealand.
That
it's hops, it's yeast, and then and the difference between the 3-barrel and the 30-barrel is also economies of scale.
Yeah.
But so it's going to go down, but it's still going to be super expensive. So that's something that we just have to mentally figure out.
Like, I know some of the breweries that were using whole Madagascar vanilla beans. Like,
that's what you're supposed to use. That's from Madagascar.
Well, that just skyrocketed in price, where some were trying to offset, in the past where they would use whole vanilla beans, and now we're trying to use like more adjunct to offset the cost.
Vanilla is so expensive.
Yeah, vanilla, like actual whole vanilla beans. I mean, look them up on Amazon. It's insane how sky high that is. So if you're going to continue to brew the beer like you're talking about, where, okay, every time we put this out, you guys are used to this, but now we're going to switch it, and then the next cycle or whatever you want to call it that it comes out, people are like, wait, this isn't, I don't think this is what I liked
No,
before.
Just rename it. Don't change it. Rename it.
Or just spend the money to keep the ingredients consistent, or don't brew the beer.
Yeah, so in that 48-hour period when Half-Life was not tasting right, one of the things we were considering was renaming that particular batch. So just putting a different label on it for that moment. Because we didn't want, the beer was delicious.
It just wasn't.
It wasn't Half-Life. So that was something that we were playing with, and then it turned out fine 48 hours later.
But this is interesting.
Dude, I think the fact that you guys have that agreement, because I don't know, I haven't heard of it. Maybe another brewery does, but that is awesome. And that's part of the reason why you guys have been so successful is that commitment to consistency.
But it's also why we're never first to market, ever.
Right.
And we release very slowly.
Which is fine, because when you release, you're drinking beers that people want to come back and have over and over and over.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. Yeah, the whole thing about beer cost and all that is wild, man. Because then, it's not just your can prices. Like if you're going to put out in kegs, then you got to go, okay, well, how much are we going to charge for a keg? And then you have to realize wherever you're selling it to, they're going to try to make their margin on it, and then they're going to jack up the keg, to whatever they're trying to clear for their margin. So you'll go into a beer and you're like, I want to try a pint of this, and they're like, oh, it's $18 for a pint. You're like, what?
I know, it's so funny. Like, I'll see people complain on Untapped about, like, for example, how much a Celestial beer costs. I'm like, it should cost that much.
I agree, and I have no problem paying it. And Turning Point's the same way.
Yeah.
Where, those beers, what they're putting into those beers costs money for that type of
you can't
product.
charge $6.
And I'm fine with that. And I've always thought, like, if you know that going in, that's what it is. I mean, I don't know how you're going to bitch about the price or whatever when it's very easy to research or look up anything these days about local beer and figure out where you want to go.
Or just ask the bar how much they paid for a keg, and they'll tell you, and then you can understand. I mean, because most bars on those really expensive beers, they're not taking the same margins that they take on something like Half-Life.
No, because you can make it up in different ways.
Yeah.
And because they realize, like, if we price, even if it's like a 12-ounce pour, if we price it at a certain point, then the price per ounce is where we want it to be. Nobody's going to buy it. Like, nobody's going to come in here and buy a $16 12-ounce beer.
No.
So they try to, there's ways to balance it out. I would. I did. I think I might have told you this before, but I remember one time before Prairie was everywhere.
Yeah.
And we were on vacation in Tampa. This was about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And we were at some random wine bar, but the dude that owned the wine bar in Tampa loved craft beer. So they had this one little refrigerator of craft beer for people that it was basically designed for, like, when women would bring their husbands or boyfriends in.
That's funny.
And so I was like, can you turn that around right there? And it was a birthday bomb or a pirate bomb from Prairie. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, how did you get this? Like, where'd you get it from? And the guy was like, I travel around and sometimes I'll just buy a beer and bring it back and sell it. I was like, how much? And it was just a 12-ounce bottle and it was $20. But I bought it.
He probably traded for it too,
which was fine. But because my lady, she was like, "Well, you've never
it's
seen
cheaper than a bottle of wine."
That's true. It is. And I was like, when am I going to ever see this again? Of course, now, fast forward a couple years later, it's everywhere. But at the time, and I've always thought
it was rare.
Well, the experience of that. I mean, sitting in a place, and I'll never forget that story because I was like, man, do I pay $20 for this?
Experiences are so priceless.
Yeah.
And it's it's little moments. Like, there was a really sweet 2 women sitting at the far table last night, and we had a special. We're hot chicken, is the trend all over Dallas right now. So we're doing our spin with a Thai hot chicken. So anyways, we did the special last night to see how it would go. They were here, and I was talking to my house how the chicken was. They didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
And she's like, we came out here just for the hot chicken. And so then she's like, I have, and she's like, I'm trying to quit Instagram, but I have notifications on for you guys so that we know when there's a special. And they drove from Fort Worth. She's like, it was a really bad day of teaching and, all of the election junk that's going on. And so she came out for the hot chicken and the ginger beer. So it's just like those experiences where you can have like little happy moments with them, and like
that is a happy moment.
Yeah,
it's cool, and you guys offer a lot of those. Well, Misty, I know we're taking up a lot of your time. We appreciate you sitting down with us, hanging out, and telling us the story of Manhattan Project, because you guys are doing great stuff. And
thank you.
If you're listening, check them out, man, because this is, like Jacques said, it's a really unique brewery, and the beer is really good.
Open 7 days a week, 3 meals a day.
There you go.
See that? Butts and seats.
Butts and seats.
Okay,
but I should go back. So the food part, though, it's not just about butts and seats. Like, the food does pair well with beer, and we want people to have a full, well-rounded experience.
It's good.
But we also don't want them to leave.
That's all that matters.
Yes, stay for a long time, drink a lot of beer, eat a lot of food. And then wake up the next morning, you're here, and the coffee will be hot.
Yeah. Uppers and downers.
Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, you guys.
We continue here on Jam Session, and once again, would love to tell you about one of our great sponsors, and that, of course, is Lauren Laddick with Edward Jones. Edward Jones, financial advisor, Lauren Laddick. Don't let the concerns about today's events derail your long-term financial strategy. Lauren can help. Lauren is the type of lady that knows what she's talking about. Like, for me, if I were to give you financial advice, you'd look at me and be like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know, man. Diversify your portfolio. But reality of it is, Lauren knows, and she can work with you to understand the impact of today's events and how to be positioned for the long term. Edward Jones provides the tools for a reasoned, disciplined approach to investing, and she can connect in several ways, whether it's over the phone or virtually. Allow Lauren to help you with your financial planning, 401k rollovers, stocks and bonds, planning for retirement, all things that adults are supposed to do, adults are supposed to do, that makes sense for you to have a better future. So unlike me, you're not working at Walmart as a greeter when you're 98 years old. Lauren's going to help make sure that doesn't happen. Big supporter of Jam Session, and if you have questions, she'll work with you to find those financial planning answers. So give her a call, 972-563-1417. That's 972-563-1417. Lauren Laddig, Edward Jones Investing, member SIPC. But it is time. I know you're excited. I'm excited. Everybody's excited. You've waited all week, and now you are rewarded. That information you will not see, hear, or read anywhere else but right here on Jam Session. Our Cowboys insider Jean-Jacques Taylor brings you Whispers from the Star.
Now, I got to tell you, Matt, I did some work this week. Had a couple phone calls. Had a couple conversations. Exchanged some text messages, Matt.
I like it.
And the source of my questions, was, the hell is wrong with this defense? Now, you might be saying, Taylor, why are you so damn negative? Taylor, why are you asking what's wrong with the defense the week after they played their best defensive game? Well, let me tell you why, people. I asked these questions because I believe the game against Philadelphia, very, very good defensive performance, was a mirage. I mean, it was a facsimile of Carson Wentz being awful, the Eagles' offensive line being beat up, and two bad teams playing. Now, if they do that again against Pittsburgh, let me tell y'all what I'll do. No, not going to be butt naked, dressed on Nowitzki Lane with peanut butter all over me. What I will do, however, is come back next week and say, perhaps I owe the Cowboys defense a public mea culpa, an apology for thinking that game against Philly was an aberration. That's as good as you're going to get right here. But let me tell you, I think I've come and found out the genesis of why this was such a bad idea by Mike McCarthy and Mike Nolan. Okay, it starts with Mike McCarthy hiring Mike Nolan. Because let me tell y'all something. When you hire Mike Nolan, you know what he is. Okay, if you hire Wade Phillips, what are you getting? You're getting a 3-4 defensive coach who's going to blitz and pressure the hell out the quarterbacks, and you probably going to finish somewhere in the top 5 in sacks. Okay, let's go a little deeper. If you get Jim Schwartz from Philadelphia, what are you getting? He going to play that funky wide 9 defense where the defensive ends are like stretched out to Oklahoma, and, you know, he's praying pressure, and he's got his style. Defensive coordinators have styles. You hire them, they do what they do. They ain't really changing. It's like offensive coordinators. They do what they do. Yeah. They ain't really changing. So when you hire this guy, now I assume Mike McCarthy is a smart football guy. Okay, what have the Cowboys done for the last 6 years under Rod Marinelli? Let me tell y'all. See, Matt was like, is this a rhetorical question or
yes,
am I supposed to answer?
I leaned in as do you need my voice?
Okay. What they have done is they've been an aggressive, penetrating defense. Rod Marinelli used to preach.
Rod Marinara.
I was going to call it marinara sauce. Rod Marinelli used to preach.
That's awesome.
Stop the run on the way to the quarterback. We want to hit the quarterback. We want to affect the quarterback. We want to make the quarterback move. Hit him. Chase him. Disrupt him. That was Rod Marinelli, man.
Yeah.
Linebackers, run to the ball. Has anybody done more pursuit drills in the history of coaches than Rod Marinelli? He coached loafs. You can't play for me if you loaf to the football. Every day, pursuit drills. Linebackers. Hey, fellas, especially the weak side guy, we finna free you up. Why are we freeing you up? Run your ass to the ball and make some plays. Sean Lee was never happier than when Rod Marinelli showed up. Oh, I'm playing weak side? You clearing up everything for me to chase it and make tackles? Who doesn't love that? Leighton Vander Esch. Oh, y'all put me at weak side? Before he got hurt, I'm finna go to the Pro Bowl, dog. I'm finna make 1,000 tackles. So you talking about a team and a roster that for 6 years has been told, chase the ball, penetrate, attack, disrupt. Now, they didn't do that all the time, but that's what they were supposed to do. You replaced them with a coach who says read and react. Dude, that's like telling Matt, don't tell no dirty jokes. That's like telling Matt, Hey, don't turn Christmas songs into X-rated porno songs.
Okay, all right.
That's like telling Matt, don't say the F word when you're mad. It ain't gonna happen. Okay? That's what they've done.
I'm that guy.
Now, I'm gonna tell y'all who the poster child for this is. Because I gotta tell y'all, I spent a lot of time looking at this because I was just shocked. I was doing my normal post-game work. And I'm looking for Tyrone Crawford on the stat sheet to write his numbers down. He's not there. I go, damn. And then I looked at another game. He wasn't there. And I looked at another game. He wasn't there. And I looked at another game. He wasn't there. Okay, I'm going to ask you. When's the last time Tyrone Crawford made a tackle?
3 games ago.
No, 5.
Oh, my God.
Third quarter, Cleveland. He made a tackle.
Oh, he's a free agent at the end of the year. Goodbye.
Well, check this out, man. See,
thanks for playing.
I can tell from that tone, you're like, he sucks. Get him out of here. Okay?
Well, they're not going to re-sign him.
No, but check this out. Check this out, though. He is the poster child right now for what's wrong with this defense. And here's why. Tyrone Crawford, on a good day, about 285 pounds. Okay? Maybe 290. Okay? Maybe if he had a bunch of Gatorade, he's 290. Do you know why he makes $9 million a year? Do you remember why?
No.
Okay, not for real now.
No, because I'm
going to tell you. Go ahead.
There was a point where it was like one of those signings that was supposed to be like the Jalen Smith thing and the Lyle Collins thing where you signed ahead of the time.
Right.
And then it made sense financially because you got a deal.
Right. He makes $9 million a year because he was supposed to be the next guy in line for the 3 technique in Marinelli's defense. What does a 3 technique do? He plays on the outside shoulder of the guard, and he's a quick, fast, disruptive player who makes plays in the backfield, a la Warren Sapp. Okay? Now, maybe you want to say Tyrone was supposed to be a poor man's Warren Sapp. Okay, Matt's looking at me crazy. I'm just saying for conversation purposes. Okay, listen to me,
let's
though.
describe him as a homeless man's Warren Sapp.
Okay.
Warren Sapp.
So Tyrone Crawford is a homeless man's Warren Sapp. Okay, but what was he? What is that position? Quick, penetrating, light, go make plays.
Right.
The Cowboys, now some of this is because of injury. The Cowboys have been playing him at nose guard, dog. Why do you think his ass is getting moved 5 yards off the ball every single solitary snap? That ain't his fault.
Put Neville Gallimore there.
Dude.
Somebody with meat on their bones. I get that Poe got cut, but what the hell are we doing?
That's the problem.
What are we doing?
Let me tell you why.
Fire Mike Nolan. God.
I would fire.
You be kidding me.
I mean,
how is that an option? The guy that weighs 285 is your.
Well, see, that's the problem, man. That's why I said he's
ridiculous.
He's the poster child for a bigger symptomatic problem. And we've said this 1,000 times, but it bears repeating. This is the classic case of poor coaching. You know why? Because they don't have the personnel to play the scheme they want, and they said, bump it, we're going to play it anyway. And that's why they suck. They don't have anything close to the personnel to play this scheme. But Mike Nolan, through Mike McCarthy's proxy, is determined to play it. So not only are you playing this, what else? What did I just tell you Leighton Vander Esch was born to do? Run to the ball, make tackles. Okay? Run to the ball, make tackles.
Right.
You know what they got him doing in this defense? The same thing they got Jalen Smith doing. Hey, dog, why don't you take on that 330-pound guard, shed him, and then go make a tackle? The hell are y'all do? Why do y'all think that those cats can shed 330-pound guards when they get on them? They can't.
Fire Mike Nolan.
And that's another reason why the defense sucks. You know one more reason? They asking the linebackers, don't attack, read and react. Now, I got to tell you, I'm not taking shots. That's not the strength of a guy of Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith is see ball, go get ball.
Which he was at Notre Dame.
Yes, that's what you want him to do. And guess who he did that for? He did that for Rod Marinelli. Seek and destroy. Seek and destroy. Seek and destroy. Not read and react. So you asking guys to go against their natural instincts, and then you say, hey, Matt, I don't want you to curse at all for the next year.
Oh, good luck with that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You like, really? Oh yeah, don't cuss, dog. There's a penalty for that if you do.
If you shot me in the head, that would help.
Nah, we just fining you, or we're gonna cut you. But you're asking somebody to do something that's not with their normal behavior. Hey, Matt, don't drink a beer this week. Okay, I'm just gonna have a sip. No, not a sip, not nothing.
Man.
Hey, Taylor, don't work out this week. Like, what's wrong with you, dog?
You're
asking people to do something that they're not accustomed to do. Something they've been doing for years.
Let me ask you, and I know this is Whiskers from the Star, but what I don't understand, and maybe this is coming up in a future Whiskers from the Star, all we heard from Mike McCarthy when he was hired was it's not about the scheme, it's about the players, and we will put players in the best position to make plays. And then you get something like this, and what you're telling me is the players they have don't fit the scheme, and that they are not adjusting to make the players do what they can do best because the scheme is more important than the players.
Yeah, but Mike McCarthy will never own that.
But you don't have to. I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm about to lose my mind.
But that's what's going on. Hey, man, I can't explain that, and I don't know the answer.
That's what they're doing.
And that's why the players have no confidence in it, because few of them are equipped to do it. So that now, I feel good about it. I've told you exactly what's wrong with this scheme, this fit, this defense, and why it ain't getting no better soon. And that, to me, is the fundamental reason why Mike McCarthy's boy, Mike Nolan, needs to be gone at the end of the year. Now we look at this Cowboys offense, and I've told y'all, I don't expect them to score no points against Pittsburgh. I don't mind being wrong, but I don't think they're going to score. I got a fundamental reason why, Matt. Now, if you were here, you can see me looking in my notebook.
Oh, his vast, nice mustard yellow notebook.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Fancy.
Okay, I'm going to break this down in simple football terms. And I've told y'all this before, so there's no reason, this is not complicated. This is hashtag fact, okay? I mean, you can't even argue, can't dispute it, nothing. Hashtag fact. You score in the NFL with big plays on your drive. You get a big play on your drive, a gain of 20 yards or more. For the Cowboys, it's not even that. It's like a pass of 16 yards and a run of 10, maybe 12. But basically, you get big plays on a drive, you're going to score. With Dak Prescott, your Cowboys averaged 32.5 points, 488 yards. Okay, Dak Prescott has not played in 3 games. Mm-hmm. The Dallas Cowboys are still tied for 4th in the NFL in passes of 20 yards or more.
Because of Dak, like solely by himself.
Yes. The Cowboys Dak ain't played in 3 games now. God. The Cowboys are tied for 2nd in the NFL behind Green Bay.
He can't throw it deep. He's no good.
For pass plays of 40 yards or more.
Unbelievable.
Okay. Again, with Dak Prescott, 32.5 points, 488 yards a game. 3 games over 500 yards. Check this out, Matt.
Yes.
Under Dak Prescott, Cowboys, 31 plays of 20 yards or more out of 361 plays. All right? 31 gains of 20 yards or more.
That's a high percentage.
In 361 plays. That's 1 every 11 and a half plays.
That's really damn good, man.
That's why they're averaging 488 yards. That's why he's averaging 8.5 yards a attempt.
Holy hell.
That's why they're scoring 32 points a game. That's with Dak. Without Dak, whether it's Andy Dalton, whether it's fake Gucci DiNucci, whether it's
Garrett,
whoever plays this week.
Whatever. Cooper.
They've had 4 gains of 20 yards or more in 229 passes, in 229 plays.
And all of those were from Andy, right?
That was Dalton going 27 yards to CeeDee Lamb and 26 yards to Cooper.
And then the Gallup pass.
And that was fake Gucci DiNucci for 32 yards.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. They had none in 79 plays against Philly.
God.
So they've had 1 every 57 plays without Dak. 1 every 11 with Dak. 1 every 57 without him. Let me just be perfectly clear. If you can't get any big plays, you're not going to score. And here's why. Because it required, without the big plays, let's say the Cowboys start at the 30-yard line, which is normal. Okay, we'll be generous. They start at their own 35. without a big play, you got to consistently get first downs. You got to consistently convert third down.
Yeah.
You know, for 40 or 50 yards to get a field goal, 65 yards to get a touchdown.
Such a bummer.
That's not going to happen because this team right now is not good enough to do it. So without the big plays, you don't have to worry about your Cowboys scoring. I don't think they'll score. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, score a couple field goals. Maybe they'll luck into a touchdown. Anything more than that to me is fool's gold. I would love for them to prove me wrong. I don't think they will because I'm telling you, friends, there are no big plays in this offense, and there ain't going to be none no time soon. Now, I got one more thing for you, Matt. And sometimes you look up stuff just to reinforce what you're thinking. Like, I think something. Let me see if it's actually true. Because, can I be honest with y'all? Sometimes the people you talk to at the Cowboys lie to you. Or they don't tell you the whole truth. And it's because something is so foul that they just don't want to accept it. And so they'll, through their love for their organization or their job, and sometimes both, they'll lead you astray by giving you some poppycock. That's kind of BS.
Yeah.
So I went and I looked up, like, okay, we got a ragtag offensive line working right now. When I say we, I'm talking about the collective we. You know, you out there, me as the media. We're talking about the Cowboys offensive line. And so I just want to see, is it really what I think it is? Is Connor Williams as bad as I think he is? Or am I not seeing it right?
Right.
Now I use Pro Football Focus for this. And I tried to double check it with a couple other sites, but here's what I came up with. I looked at sacks, hits, and hurries, and the total number, what that number is. Like Tyron Smith. A lot of y'all think he's lost a step, he's over the hill, he's hurt, he's this, he's that.
Yeah.
He played 111 snaps before he got hurt. No sacks, no hits, 5 hurries, 1 penalty. I got to tell y'all, pretty damn good, okay? I mean, it is. Is he still playing at the Hall of Fame level? No. But you can probably count on one hand the tackles better than him.
I think that's true.
And if not, you only need a couple fingers on the other hand.
Yeah.
He's still a top 10 player is what I'm saying.
Easily, yes. Yeah.
All right, let's just go in order. Connor Williams, who's played the most snaps on the offensive line because he ain't been hurt. 1 sack, no quarterback hits, 12 hurries, for a total of 13. That's really not that bad. It feels like it's worse, I think, because he gets beaten in the running game a lot. You know? But can I tell you what he is? I'm being serious. He's an average NFL guard.
See, and yeah.
And there's really nothing wrong with an average NFL guard.
No, but the problem is we're used to Zach Martin and Tyron Smith and Travis Frederick and Lyle Collins. So
he's
you look
an
at
average
him,
NFL guard. He'll probably play 10, 12 years in the league.
And he'll be fine.
Because what will he be after he's not a starter? He'll be Joe Looney.
A swing guy that can come in.
I can play guard.
Right.
I can play tackle.
Give you a couple
pinch, I can play center.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
Joe Looney, he only played 156 snaps, but he was playing pretty good. 2 hits, 2 hurries for a total of 4. Had a couple penalties, but okay. Zach Martin, 1 hit, 1 sack, 2 hits, 9 hurries, 12. A lot of that work came against Aaron Donald in the first game. It happens. Then I was interested in Brandon Knight, the swing tackle there. Because I didn't look at Cam Irving because I think he sucks. And there's no need to waste time looking at him.
Fair enough.
And I forgot to look at Biotish. So maybe I'll look at him later. But Brandon Knight, 2 sacks, 3 hits, 9 hurries, and 264 plays. At left tackle for a guy who never really played, I'll take that. It's not too bad. But we all seem to think, why not play Zach Martin at tackle, put Looney at guard? Why not play anybody but Terrence Steele at tackle, whoever that is? Can I give you the answer to that, Matt?
Please.
I don't know why the hell not. Terrence Steele is as bad as you think he's been. Like, you think he's been bad, okay? But then you say, well, maybe he's not. Maybe I'm like Connor Williams. Okay, Connor Williams hasn't been bad. He's been average. Maybe Terrence Steele has really been average. He's just had a couple bad plays that really stand out to me.
Yeah.
No. Terrence Steele has been bad. 322 snaps, second most on the team. 7 sacks. Nobody else is giving up more than 2.
Jesus. That's a lot.
Only 3 quarterback hits. 18 hurries. 4 penalties. Total of 28. Dog. That's twice as bad just from a, numbers standpoint as anybody else. He got T.J. Watt this week. T.J. Watt got 6.5 sacks. He got the best pass rush win rate in the National Football League. Let me tell y'all something. Coaches will tell you, Matt, we can't give a guy help on every play. He's in the National Football League. Couple times he got to be out there by himself. Okay, y'all do that, you're going to get your quarterback killed this week. Every pass play, there better be a chip, a tight end, a pulling somebody. Somebody better get that boy some help because he's not ready to play in the NFL, and you're going to be on your 5th starting quarterback if you let him out there on an island by himself with T.J. Watt. And that, my friends, yet another sterling, sensational, exceptional edition of Whispers from the Star. That news you can't see, hear, or get anywhere but the Jam Session Podcast. Fridays, whenever you listen to this thing.
And there it is. And that wraps it up for us today. Again, thanks to Manhattan Project Brewing Company for having us out. Really enjoyed, Carl sitting in on Just a Sip, and then our conversation with Misty, which was fantastic. Brewing some really good beers in a really cool location. If you haven't been here, I would encourage you to check them out right here in West Dallas. Very easy to find. Now, thanks for listening to the Jam Session Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Jam Session Cast. We're also available on our YouTube channel. Subscribe today by searching Jam Session Podcast. And, of course, you can find us on Twitter at McMattRadio, at JJT_journalist. Thanks to Purple Elephant Music for the music you hear at the end and the beginning of each episode. He is the radio, TV, and now podcast superstar, the sexy Jean-Jacques Taylor. And I'm just a guy, Matt McLaren. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. And if you would, also tell a friend. Reach out to a friend and let them know what we've got going on. That will help us tremendously. And we'll catch you next time on the Jam Session Podcast, available everywhere you listen to podcasts.